of God. Sing it again. I love you, Lord, for your mercies never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, sing all my life, you have been faithful. Sing all my life, you have been so, so good. Sing every breath that I am able. Oh, I will sing of your goodness. We sing all my life, you have been faithful. All my life, you have been faithful. Oh, sing all my life, you have been so, so good. Sing every breath that I am I will sing one more time. We sing all my life, you have been faithful. All my life, you have been faithful. Oh, we sing all my life, you have been so, so good. We sing every breath that I am in, and I will sing of your goodness. We sing, I will sing of your goodness. We sing, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God, and I will sing of your goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause who is like you, Lord, in all the earth? Oh, matchless love and beauty, endless world. There's nothing in this world can satisfy. Oh, Jesus, you're the God that will run dry. Come on, sing it like you believe it. Who is like you, Lord, in all the earth? Oh, matchless love and beauty, endless world. There's nothing in this world can satisfy. Jesus, you're the God that will run dry. presence. He said to me, "'Cause great is your faithfulness to me. Great your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting, I will praise your to shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Yeah. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Your love is kind. Your love is patient. You fill my heart with so much peace and joy. Your you make my life feel brand new. Jesus, you're amazing. You make my life feel brand new. Hey, Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, excess love. Jesus, you love me too much, too much, excess love. Yeah. Jesus, you love me too much, excess love. Yeah. Jesus, you love me too much, excess love. Your love is amazing. Your love is amazing. Your love is amazing. Your love is amazing. You're 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 amazing. Hey, Jesus, you love me too much, too much, excess love. Hey, Jesus, you love me too much, too much, excess love. Hey, Jesus, 'cause you love me too much.
Too much, excess love.
Jesus, you love me too much. Too much, excess love. Thank you for loving me too much, unconditionally.
Thank you for loving me too much.
Thank you for loving me too much, unconditionally.
Thank you for loving me too much.
Thank you for loving me too much, unconditionally.
Thank you for loving me too much.
'Cause you will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. Hey, you will never ever change. Hey, you are the Lord. You say,
You remain the same.
hey, say you will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. Hey, you will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. Hey, you will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. One more time. You will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. Hey, come on, listen. You will never ever change. You are the Lord. Hey, you remain the same. Oh, you never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain. 'Cause at the center of it all, it's you that I see. It's you that I see. Yeah. At the center of it all, it's you that I see. It's you that I see. There is power in your name. Miracles happen in your name. As we lift a voice to say, as we lift a voice to say, it's you that I see. Oh, it's you that I see. Hey, at the center of it all, at the center of it all, hey, it's you that I see. It's you that I see. Hey, see, at the center of it all, at the center of it all, it's you that I see. Sing it's you that I see.
It's you that I see.
Sing there is power in your name. Oh, miracles happen in your name. As we leave the voice to say,
As we lift the voices,
it's you that I see.
that I see,
Oh, it's you that I see.
that I see.
Hey, if you believe it, say, hey, you are bigger, bigger than the biggest. Say, you are stronger, stronger than the strongest. You are higher, higher than the highest. You are greater, greater than the. You say, you are bigger, bigger than the big. Say, you are great. Hey, higher than the say, you are great. Hey, you are bigger, bigger than the biggest. You are strong, stronger than the strongest. You are high, higher than the highest. Come on, give the Lord some praise. Come on, rejoice and give the Lord some praise. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
You may all be seated. Hallelujah. Amen. You are welcome and good afternoon. Good afternoon. Everyone, welcome to Creating Your World 2024. Hallelujah. I thought somebody would be excited to be in the house. Amen. Amen. You know, a man said we are not only spiritual being, we are also a soul that exists here on earth. The scripture said that Jesus had favor with God, and he also had favor with man. You need both spiritual principle and the earthly principle if you must fulfill God's destiny here on earth. And that is one of the areas one of the reasons we have Creating Your World Conference. Hallelujah. So the vision of Creating Your World Conference is to train business leaders, entrepreneurs, startup, and corporate professionals to be effective in their various sphere of influence. Hallelujah. We believe that God has called us to dominate. God has called us to be an influence. God has called us to be a pace setter. And for us to do that, we must take our mandate. And taking over our mandate, we must also know. The scripture said, my people are knowledge. We need knowledge in every area. That after we finish speaking in tongues, we also know how to go into the boardroom and bring our anointing there to transform things in that place. That everywhere we get into, we are making impact. So our vision here is simple. We are here to transform, to bring change to the world. And I believe every one of us here that we are leader in our different spheres of life. Hallelujah. And we're trusting God today by the grace of God. As we are here again to learn some secret from seasoned men that love God, anointed men of God, but they are not just prophets in the pulpit, but they are also anointed in the marketplace. And we are trusting God that we will take something out of this place today as we go on with this conference. And this year's focus, we are actually focusing on pivot. And pivot, we know it talks about change, talks about transformation that push us into a positive change, and not just in our lives. It could be in business, it could be in your office, and it could also be in your home. We need a change. Even though God, I am God, I change not, but He's always doing new things. We are called to do new things. We are called to be innovative. We are called to transform. And that is part of the example that God has brought into our lives. So we believe that as you leave this place today, that your life will not remain the same. That we will leave here with some secret. We will leave here with some nuggets. We will leave here with things that when we take out there, we could truly, truly dominate our world. There are things that, like I said, even though when we are talking of the glory of the Lord that is in our lives, that God help us, that what we do, it makes it extraordinary. But you must do something for you to see the blessing of the Lord in your life. We believe that God has given us all that pertain to life and godliness. But we need to use it for us to see that life manifest in us, for us to see that life truly, that people will see. Because the truth is that we are the testimony. If you don't have testimony, you are not a witness. One of the way you witness Jesus is that they are seeing the glory of the Lord. That they are seeing that you are not cutting corner, but you are making things happen. And that you are becoming all. That they truly see you and they are seeing the blessing of the Lord. Blessing of the Lord comes through work and putting some principle in place. And when you do that, definitely it will, you will definitely see some things in your life. And so whether you have been succeeding in whatever you have been doing, you have been advancing, we trust God by the time you pivot this season that you will see another level, because we move from glory to glory. We move from strength to strength. So we are not meant to remain in a level. He said if you are bearing fruit, what he does is to prune you. In other words, there are adjustments that God always makes every now and then to push you forward. But we must also be ready to make that adjustment in our lives. We must be willing to make that adjustment to move forward to where God will have us be. So we must be willing, and for us to make that adjustment, we need information. We need the right information. And the truth is that there is a difference between the people that will come and teach you theory, what they read in the book, and to also people who have been there. Like there is difference between class exam and the street exam. Hallelujah. And the truth is that there's a difference, because people can come out with a first class and still be a first class failure. But you can also come out with third class and become a first class citizen. There is a difference in life. And also the truth is that you will also discover that as you grow in life, when you were growing, they will ask you, what school? What is your grade? What kind of this thing you are coming? But as you also grow in life, nobody wants to know the school. They want to know what influence, what impact you are making in the society. And that is where God. So God has called us into his glory. God has called us to transform. God has called us to advance. And advance we will by the grace of God. Hallelujah. So please open your hearts wide this afternoon. We are going to be hearing from, like I said, two different seasoned speakers that are not just apostle in the church, but are also apostle in the marketplace that God has also helped in various ways to succeed in their various endeavor. So it's going to be a two parts. The first part, they will also teach. And the second part, after a short break, they will come back and it will be question and answer session where you get to ask them any question. So as they are teaching, you can write down some things. And if you have some ideas that you feel you want to know about, also write it down, keep it. It will be a good time. And I trust God that we are going to have a great time here today. Hallelujah. So how many of us believe that? And how many of us are ready? Amen. Praise the Lord. I say, I will try not to say praise the Lord, but So, it's interesting that one of the speakers we have in the house today is my big brother. And interestingly enough is that when I just landed in Chicago, he was one of the people they introduced me to. And he was so, you need to meet, he was so passionate about, making sure I settle down. He would say, you need to know this person. He would take me, listen, you need to know this person. I was introducing me to people. But the interesting thing is, I did not know that we went to the same secondary school. Hallelujah. And but he graduated long, I was still before I got it to. So they were the forerunners. They say John the Baptist. So the forerunner that set the things, and he has actually been a blessing to me. And Pastor Godfrey, if I've never said thank you, thank you. He's such a wonderful man. And looking back, and he has truly been a blessing without even really knowing. The day, the old boys took me to the house, and they were saying, you went to ACC. So it was a very interesting moment. Hallelujah. So I'm going to be bringing up our very first guest speaker. Dr. Godfrey started his education journey in St. Paul Primary School, Benin City, and proceed to Annunciation Catholic College, that is also my school, era, where he passed his West Africa school in flying colors. He obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Account and Computer Programming from Volhars College in Denmark, South Carolina. He obtained an MBA in Management from Howard University in Washington, D.C. After some years, he earned his doctorate degree in Organization and Management from Capella University. Dr. Godfrey is the chairman and CEO of Go Global Enterprise, Berkeley, Illinois, USA. He has over 25 years of experience in public and financial consulting. He's a licensed certified public accountant. Over his professional career, Dr. Godfrey has worked directly in finance, accounting, and audit terms of the following organization: Longview Solution, Kraft Food, Kraft Food and McDonald's Corporation, Nortel Network, and BP Amoco, serving in both strategic and tactical capacity. He's affiliated with the Illinois CPA Society and the National Association of Black Accountants. Dr. Godfrey was born into an Anglican family. However, in January 1996, he became born again. All things became new for him, according to 2 Corinthians 5:17. He began to sponsor missionaries' work in some rural communities in the Benue State of Nigeria. In 2001, he was ordained a pastor in the Glorious Church of the Firstborn in Otukpo in Benue State. He joined Kingsword International Church as an associate pastor in September 2010. Dr. Godfrey is the president and founder of a worldwide outreach known as the Telephone Bible Ministry. He is an active member of the prestigious Men of Faith Network Ministry in Chicago. He is the chaplain to the ASAN People Congress, USA. He is the current treasurer to Akobai Old Boys Association. Dr. Godfrey teaches and preaches the word with great insight and unique communication ability. He is the choice and highly sought after preacher nationwide and internationally. Dr. Godfrey is happily married to Gina. Dr. Godfrey is the author of 5 books: Financial Maturity After Recession, Breaking the Cycle of Insufficiency, The Impact of Financial Literacy Competency in Faith-Based Organization, The Overflow, and Godly Gains. With Jesus' joy in our heart, please join me as I welcome my big brother, Dr. Godfrey Ekomo. Please.
Let the house say amen. Let the house say amen again. And let us say amen one more time. Amen, amen, amen. Please be seated. Please be seated. I brought a note here so I'll know to time myself. And so I can get carried away when I start talking about money. And so because of that, I just need to stay on track. Father, we thank you for the opportunity. We are grateful because you are God. We take absolute control of things happening, asking that the enemy will not interfere with what we have to hear today. The enemy will be terrorized and the children of God will be liberated. For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. Thank you so very much. I want to give special thanks to my junior brother and friend, Dr. Wilson. As a matter of fact, he's planted a few churches outside of Chicago. So he qualifies as an apostle, Apostle Wilson. So I know Reverend George is coming soon. So I'm going to whisper into Reverend George's ears, say, we need to do something about this young man. You know, I didn't come here to teach Bible. I'm sure you guys already know that. Reverend Wilson does that already.
He has prophesied. He has given you guys the promises of God regarding how to be rich, how to be wealthy, how to make money, how to just go in there and just really kill it. There's only one verse of scripture I'm going to use all through this time. I have about, I'm looking at time here, I have about 45 minutes to line this jet. So get yourselves ready. Do like this, everybody. Meaning you are strapping yourselves, okay, and you're ready to go, okay? Take down notes as much as possible. Write down this number, 708-516-5259, okay? I'll tell you whose number that is. I want to thank you for the invitation, Reverend Wilson. I appreciate it. Back in school days, because he was so junior to me in school days, I tend to give me 12 laptops, 12 push-ups, and so on and so forth. The day I found out that he went to my own school, I said, "What? Come on over here. Give me sit-ups, something like that." So the folks at the gathering, they had to show mercy, and they said, "Please leave him alone." So we left him alone. He was at the meeting on last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago, in California. So, he has actually attended some of those functions more than myself. Actually, you have some awards for me, right? Yeah, so they gave him my awards because I wasn't there. I don't know what part of the world I was in. I'm here today. Last week I was in Atlanta. The week before I was in Austin, Texas. Next week I'll be teaching in Men of Faith Network by the grace of God. We'll be talking about the servant of God. What does it mean to be called a servant of God? So I'll be talking about that this same time, at the exact same time, next week. And then after that, I'll find myself in Nigeria somewhere. So it's just that type of schedule. So I was so glad that we're able to work this out, for me to stop by on this day. The pastor that's coming after me is a great man of God, great friend of mine. We don't get to see much, but in the 90s, we used to meet each other in somewhere like San Francisco. We'd be flying back to Chicago. "Oh, you are going back home?" I said, "Yeah." I recall one flight. The flight was being turbulent. You know how flights can be turbulent on their own. And I said, "Well, Pastor Wally, because I have you here, no, we are safe." So I think they should take up offering because you are here. So we made it to Chicago safely then. So, but please pay attention to him. He has great insights. And I'll just share nuggets with you. Just nuggets, some of the things that I've done that would help, one way or the other. I don't get to talk to people in smaller crowds like what we have now. But that's the most effective crowd. Because the folks are intently listening, taking notes. Whereas if you go to these big crowds, people are screaming and whatever, you don't even recall what you're trying to say again. So I like this. So that I can impact you. And so you can go and come back with testimonies. Amen? Amen. You know where you are. And you know where you want to go. The theme itself says pivot. In order for you to pivot, you've got to be somewhere to now say, "I'm going in this direction." I gesticulate a lot. I move my hands. I show things a lot because I want you to track with me. And so when you go in this direction, you are pivoting in this direction. And you have no choice but to move forward in life in Jesus' name. Amen. There are those who can pivot and be circling in the same place. It does not make any sense. And then there are those who want to pivot and pivot backwards. You cannot go backwards anymore from today onwards in Jesus' name. When you are falling, fall forward. not fall backwards. But that's another sermon. They said I wrote 4 books. Oh, by the way, the teaching has started, by the way. I hope you know that, right? They said I wrote 4 books. But I have a question for you. What have you brought to the table? What have you brought to the table? Whether you're working for somebody or you have your own business, what have you brought to the table? That's one question you need to ask yourself. And number 2, what one thing do you know? And even you know that you know it. What one thing do you know? And even you yourself, you know, I know this very well. And if you have answers to those, or you are still searching for those answers, then guess what? You are in the right place right now. There's a scripture in the Bible I'm going to use to anchor us. And that's what I said. There's only one scripture I'm going to use. Let's examine some words within that scripture. Isaiah chapter number 48. Isaiah chapter number 48, verse number 17. Isaiah 48, 17. Does anyone have a Bible here by chance? On the phone? Okay. Read it. Let me hear you. Oh, it's even on the wall. Let's read it together, please. Now they sleep. Let's start now. Stop. So someone is talking, and who is this person talking? Okay, stop right there. Now, what did he say? Read.
I am the Lord thy God,
which teacheth thee to what?
prophets,
And then what else?
which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go.
God will teach you to profit, and then will teach you how to make the profit. Just hold on to that scripture ever. If you want to go into business, hold on to that scripture. There are many scriptures in the Bible that will tell you things like that. This is one place that it says about profit. So let us deal with that profit. You woke up this morning, you didn't come to clown around here. You came and said, let me go back home with something, a nugget, an idea, something that will change my life. That's why you are pivoting forward. You are creating your own world by this discussion that we are having this afternoon. The first book they talked, before we talked about that book, in the year 2019 and 2020, we suffered some type of pandemic. And then the government didn't really know what to do. So what the government decided to do was to ask that they will give businesses what you call payroll protection plan, which is PPP. People probably heard that. So we said, okay, PPP, we didn't know what it was. So we looked for it. We searched on the internet. Internet had different meanings and different conditions and different situations for it. But we found a legitimate one. So they gave monies to us all. 70,000 and 50,000. We were all excited. To companies, by the way. When I say us, the companies. And so we would help the companies apply for it. And then the companies would give us a fee. I'm a fee man. If I do work for you, you pay me for doing your work. And then guess what? People started abusing it. You know, folks know how to abuse things. Even the Congress people were abusing it too. Everybody decided to create what you call LLC, Limited Liability Company. When they created it, they forged certain things to qualify. So the government caught up to it and said, we need to stop. So they stopped. We were all crying. We really enjoyed it. Something needs to happen. Government woke up one day. I know wake them up. They woke up on their own. We have a program for you. A program for us again? The first thing we need to do, we need to forgive everybody we gave PPP to. They forgive them all the money. Over $2 billion. And every client we had received something from them. So, praise God. But this new program, what does this one mean? They called it EROC, Employee Retention Credit. EROC, what is that? He said, if you have an employee and employees up to 100, if you say to me, these employees you've been paying W-2 type income to, meaning you've been withholding taxes for them, guess what? We'll give you some credit. We'll give you some money back for doing it. Oh, by the way, make sure you've not fired them yet. This was 2019, 2020. We were now doing this in 2021. So we now said, what do we need to do to make this happen? First time somebody brought this to my attention, because I didn't know what he was talking about, I said, that's not legitimate. That cannot be true. That's immoral. That's wrong. I found every adjective to disqualify it. 2 months later, another gentleman from Florida reached out to me. Sir, I said, yes. He said, they gave me the money. I said, which money? The ERC money. ERC money? What is that? Yeah. I said, how did you get it? Tell me. He told me. He said, can you show me the email that it came from? He showed it to me. I said, this is not kidding, right? And I took it, called one of my staff. I said, I give you money. You need to do something about this. How come none of you told me about this? So they went. I used my sister in Arizona as what you call a guinea pig. Didn't even use my own company. And she did my sister's own. My sister was getting back over $700,000. I said, $700,000? This cannot be true. He said, it is happening. So I concluded that the employee didn't know what they were doing, that they probably made some mistakes in the whole process. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Do you remember in the Bible they said some guy couldn't sleep at night? Was it some king guy? He couldn't sleep because there were certain things, because God wanted to tell him to do something. I couldn't sleep. I was like, let me go get this form. And when I got the form, I sat in front of my laptop. I started to design what the ERC thing said to do. So that, let me replicate what the employee did and see if we'll come up with the same answer. None of them knew I was doing that. I did it. I came up with the same, to the last penny. I said, she knew what she was doing. We submitted it. We said, well, let us see. If they catch that one, they don't catch everybody else. Guess what? They brought her the money. The entire $700,000. I was like, this is no joke. I changed my total staff. I said, stop whatever you're doing. We are facing this now. So now I have a way of doing it real quickly. So we need to now vet those coming to me. So everybody started working on ERC. Long story short, we brought back over $72 million for our clients. Remember what I said? What do you bring to the table? And whatever it is that you say you know, do you really know it? I went to school in Voorhees College, South Carolina. My major was accounting. My minor was computer programming. On the side, I'll toy around with things like Excel, come up with formulas to do different things for me. So when they brought this same task, the first thing to do was to create a software, a program for it. So the over 200 staff, the over 200 clients that we got, I would do their thing within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes. And they were all getting, what did I tell you? $72 million. Because of that little teaching I received a while ago that I never forgot. So what do you bring to the table? He said I wrote 5 books. One was financial maturity after the recession. Most of you weren't here yet then. In 2007, 2008, we had a recession in this U.S. So I started to think, okay, when this is over, what would we do? You have got to be somebody thinking outside of the box, somebody thinking solutions when there's no problem yet. I have over 2,000 clients right now, tax clients. For 7 years, the IRS has never visited us. Why? Because we will solve a problem before it becomes a problem. That's the number one thing you ought to have. So that when you have clients, you can solve their problems, they'll turn around and give you the money. You want money? That's exactly how you make money. Second book, Breaking the Cycle of Insufficiency. I got tired of seeing people who just didn't have. So we needed to break it. Now I came up with what you call streets. Are you in poverty lane? Are you in drought street? Are you in let's try to make it tomorrow? Whatever the case may be, we now came to prosperity lane. Divine avenue. So all of those things are listed in the book. And then the PhD thing came. I said, I'm going to tie what we do in church to what we do in academics. I brought all that together to that dissertation thing, and they gave it to me. They liked it. I said, this is good. We talked about the overflow. When are you going to show that you have more than enough? And then the last one, and that's from which I'm going to share with you this afternoon. All of that was just introduction. All of that was just introduction. And I'm talking from what you call godly gains. Godly gains. See, you want to have the money and sleep well at night. That's why it's godly gain. Don't have money and then you are worried who's going to knock on my door. The other day, the sheriff came and knocked on my door. I said, they don't come. So I opened the door. I said, yeah, I'm sheriff. I'm looking for XYZ. A guy came and borrowed $20,000 from me. He's been missing for the past 4 or 5 months. I said, hey, if you find him, tell him to bring my $20,000. You know, I gave him the last address of his that we actually know. The guy will route all his letters to my place. So they now thought he was there. I said, no, I only helped him with opening his business, and he borrowed money. He said he wanted to try this and try that. He never paid me back. I better make you sue him for me. Godly gains. You tell me how that person will be sleeping well at night. Godly gains. We all can do different things and make money off it, but would we rest well at night? You know, you should be in a position whereby your clients will call you and say, I just want to say hi. No, there's no problem. I just want to say hi and thank you for all the money you brought for us. Those are the calls I get. What you did for us this year. Oh, Jesus. Those are the calls I get. Yeah, you get some disgruntled calls. At times, you even have to tell some clients you are fired. If you get to a point of you telling clients you are fired, that means you don't arrive. Then I said, listen, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this harassment. Okay, you're fired. Please go. Go somewhere else. Just having, we're on our way back from Atlanta on last week. I think I mentioned I went to Atlanta. So on our way back, there was this huge storm. So we were in Uber, and then I said to my staff that was traveling with me, I said to him, I said, you know, I think I've come up with a decision. He said, what's the decision, sir? I said, if the person makes less than $300,000, we're not going to do their taxes anymore. I said, so what's going to happen? I said, let us start other companies. Let us give them those type those type clients. I want them to do well too. We have over 2,000. We can't even count. I have that lady, the lady sitting down there. She's one of my staff. I don't even know. She probably knows. Over 2,000 clients. What do you think they take 2,000 clients to? Let's help other people. I remember a guy, a friend of mine, he started a CPA time, a business like me. We both had 5 clients each. Then when I joined my church, Kingsword International, I ended up with 50. And then from there, guess what? 700. And then before you know it, we're over 2,000. Like I said, I don't even know the right number again. And I said, let's bring it down. Let's weed it out. So everybody, every client with over $300,000, I get to see their taxes. I get to see their financials. But if it's less than that, let's give them to another company, one small company there that's trying to make life, that's trying to keep the business afloat. While we're trying to make money, we're trying to help others also. Only you can chop all the money. How many cars can you have? How many houses can you have? Yeah? We are here and blessed by God. We need to bless others. Amen?
Amen.
In Godly Gains, we identified 4 quadrants of income. 4 quadrants. Quadrant number 1, your trained position. Trained position is, what did you go to school for? Did you go as a nurse? Did you go as an accountant? Did you go as a doctor? Did you go did they go to school for pastor? Did you even go as a pastor? Did they go to school for pastor? Okay. What did you go to school for? As a teacher? Quadrant 1 says that's your source of income. That's how you should get your majority of your money. Because that's what you went to school for. That's what you invested your time, your money, your energy, your family's time for. That's quadrant 1. So when the book comes out, Godly Gains, you'll now understand why I have quadrant 1 there. You can now relate to it. So when the book comes out, you get your copy then. Guess what? I need you to teach this same thing. See, when I was doing my PhD, I didn't have enough sense about this. This is what I would have used. The quadrants of income. I didn't, life now. So what I'm sharing with you is about life. It's not about some waiting teachers know. And it's not about what they taught me at school. They didn't even teach me that. Quadrant number 2. Passion. What do you have passion for? There are some folks who know how to sew. When you see them sew today, you say, why don't you just have your own business? They say, I just really like it. Some will tell you the reason they have this passion. Some, like Pastor Wilson, that's his calling, right? There are some who have passion to speak. Listen, I'm not a motivational speaker. Let me motivate me. So I'm not a motivational speaker. I'll just teach Bible and go about my way, and teach about money and go about my way. This is not a motivational session. If you think it is, it's not. I'm just sharing with you the nuggets of what I've learned that's brought me to the million category. That's the only thing I'm sharing with you. Quadrant number 2, passion. That passion. Have passion for something. I know most of you know something about day trading. or trading crypto, trading stocks. If you have passion for it, make money from it. But if you are losing money in it, take a break. Go learn and come back. Are you still with me? Did I lose you guys already? No. Number 3, quadrant number 3. So let me hurry up before Pastor Wally will kick me out of the stage here. Quadrant number 3. Hobby. What's your hobby? There's a difference between passion and hobby. Passion is, I really like this stuff. Hobby is, I like to play around. That's your hobby. Make money from it. And then, this is the one I really like. Quadrant number 4. Back against the wall. It's called back against the wall. Your back is against the wall. Jesus is Lord. Have you ever had a situation whereby you felt that your back is against the wall? No one to turn to. When a wife comes to you and says, I want to divorce you, I don't want to marry anymore, I want to take the kids, I want to take my money, I want to take this, I want to take the house. And you know in America, the wife will take everything. And guess what? Your back is against the wall. When the job man comes to you and tells you you are no longer employed, you have got to go, your back is against the wall. When you have a disastrous situation in life, you really don't know what to do anymore. You're tired of praying the prayers of Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. Let us come boldly to the throne of grace. You're like, our church know they work again. Your back is against the wall. That's when you find this type of money. You will do a job you really don't want to do. Some will say they'll go driving cab. Some will say they'll do Uber. Some will say they'll do babysitting. Some will say all kinds of things. Those jobs that you know you didn't even go to school for, you started doing them. How many quadrants did I share with you? Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Clap for yourselves. When I was putting my notes together about this godly gains some time ago, I was in a place called, maybe you guys have heard about this, so they say, what happens in this place stays in this place. Who remembers that name? Yes. Very good. I was there. I was there teaching, yeah. They said, come and teach some rich people things. I said, well, now come bring me to Sin City to teach. I laughed. And that's when I came across this very first point I'm going to talk to you about. It's called, these are resources to bring the money. We talked about the quadrants. Now we're talking about the resources, how you make money for real. People ask me, do you have a tree of money in your house? I say, yes, I do. And all of you must have one each. A tree. You go in there and say, I've been seeing a tree there. Anyway, go there and pluck one and say, I'm plucking money. I pluck money daily. Yesterday, I plucked only $9,000. I wasn't happy. I said, $9,000 the whole day. The day was just wasted for me. Wasted. Embrace multiple streams of income. Embrace multiple streams of income. One place alone will not do. Be a consultant for somebody. I'm still on that first point. One place enough is not enough. You have your normal job, that's fine. I'm not going to knock 9 to 5 today because my employee is here. Then they will say, if you are knocking us like this, therefore we shouldn't be working for you there. Embrace multiple streams of income. Have that job, have a hair plating salon, have a gold selling place. Do something other than just one job. As a pastor, pastors, the number one job is the church, saving souls and so on and so forth. Also giving counseling on the side. How do you make better choices in life? And you just come to a pastor, please, don't say, because our pastor, and this is it, he's supposed to do this for us, and then you don't bless him. I know it's not part of what, I just feel like I should add it. Bless him. If he counsels you over something, say, hey, you know what, man, here you go. Bless him. And I'll show you how blessing him blesses you. Number 2, engage in multiple forms of investments. If you're a business owner, do not just, if you're driving cab, not only cab, invest in stock market too. If Oyibo people are doing well, you should do well. They cost you that you won't do well. People are doing cryptos, do crypto too. If they are doing real estate, do real estate. Let me tell you, the real estate thing, I actually don't like it. In 2005, I got burnt in the real estate market. But so what I do now is I just give to somebody who says they know how to do. I just say, hey, here goes my investment. You go make money off it, then bring me back my gain. So because I know that's not my passion, that I don't know what to do. I won't know how to close a house rather than even open a house. So I just say, okay, I'll invest in it. You go make money and bring me back my money. Get yourself into multiple streams of income, multiple investments. Number 3, enter into partnerships. Only one person they know everything. Enter into partnerships. See a lot of young people here know one another well. One might know how to do this, the other one will know how to do this. The other, in my company, that's, what they do? They all know what they all do. So that the day this one will go crazy on me, I'm not coming to work, somebody else will know your job. Don't worry about that. Then, if you now have them as partners doing things, guess what? You'll be good. Number 4. Okay. This one is a controversial point, but I have to say it because I believe it. Use debt, that's borrowed money, in making money, but largely avoiding it. If you can avoid using debt, avoid it. But if that's how you start, then start. But if you start and you start making money, pay it back. Number 5, manage costly habits. There are many costly habits we have. We've got to learn how to manage them. Because the costly habit can bury you because you're not following exactly what God doesn't want you to do. You just do, this is it. Manage it. Number 6, I love this one. Give risk a chance. Give risk a chance. Now, let me be very transparent. I'm ultra risky. You will not see any business person like me. I just, it's in my DNA. That's how I am. Sorry. There are some people, oh no, I won't try this. I say, okay, I'll try it. When crypto, you guys have heard the word crypto before. When crypto, everybody was running. They say you. I say, hey, okay, it will. Then it burnt me. Don't get me wrong. Wrong. Then I went back in. Made quite a bit of money. Good money. I say, Jesus is Lord. You know those type of money you make, and then you say, Jesus is Lord. That type of money. Let risk be part of your life. It's life. Who is to say, besides the fact that you are already born of God, and he says he's giving you long life and prosperity and everything, who is to say, when you get out of here, this is not the end? But you just believe what God has told you. That's why we're not even doubting it. Risk. Give risk a chance. The other day I was, what's the name of the thing? WhatsApp. You guys are all in WhatsApp. And I put on my status page because I have a few people who like to follow my comments about money, Kenny. So I now wrote, I said, euro dollar is going to go up. I said, euro dollar is too down. I don't like it in this position. It's going to just shoot up. Go and get a Forex account and to get euro dollar into it. Get into euro dollar. A gentleman from Indiana reached out to me. Sir, I just read your stuff. I said, yeah. I said, what do you think? He said, are you doing it? I said, yeah. I said, I just want you guys to chop too. It's not good for only one person to be chopped. It's not fun. If only you are the one that is rich, then everybody is around you is poor. I said, I can't take that. He said, I have $300,000. Indiana, this is a true story, by the way. It's a medical doctor. I have $300,000. Are you saying I should put all 300 in euro dollar? I said, oh, yeah. He said, put all 300? He said, what am I going to tell my wife? I said, tell your wife, I said, you should put it. But if it doesn't, he said, but what if it doesn't go well? I said, that's the problem. Because you are going in with the mindset that what if it doesn't go well? A person who is pivoting forward. If you sit down there thinking about what if it doesn't, then guess what? It wouldn't. Have you ever asked yourself a question? Well, what if it does? We are so drawn to the negativity of the thing. If I had sat here dealing with folks when I was working in those companies, my salary today would be only $110,000. I did the analysis today. But I was like, forget you guys. Let me stop. What if it doesn't? A few of us will have more millionaires in our midst because everybody's afraid. Number 7, don't pay yourself. Do not pay yourself. Risk your pay. Instead of busy finding what to eat out of the company, use that to risk. Make sure your employees are paid. Bring more money to the fold. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Wale in the house. Number 8. Number 8. Be benevolent to a human fault. Be benevolent to a human fault. Let people fault you for being generous. I get in trouble all the time for being generous. I go to churches and say, what's you guys' program? They'll share with me. I say, okay, I'll give you guys $25,000. They say, hey, did he just say he'll give us 25? I say, yes, I'll give you 25,000. I'll walk out of that place, give them their check. The one that just asked the question, can I invite you? Make sure you get from him today. Be benevolent to human fault. Like people even love, they are taking advantage of him. I beg, take advantage of me. The money is not mine, it's God's money. That's why I'm a treasurer, God's treasurer. You didn't apply for the position, that's why you ain't got none. When you are God's treasurer, he brings money in your pocket. God tells you, Pastor Wilson, they need something. Before Pastor Wilson would approach me, God would have ministered it to you. When he comes, I'll say, so what do you have a need for now? He will tell me exactly what God has told me. Those people who say, how do you hear God? Is he audible? Go and pray. You and God will work it out. When the reason that you don't have this access is because when God gives it to you and God tells you, you keep it to yourself. Can he trust you? If you want to hear all that, on Saturday, Men of Faith, I'll talk about what it means to be God's servant. Number 9, recklessly reward your employees. It's the employees that are doing the real work, not be you. Your job is to go there and make sure you put the company together, make sure, then God will send and dispatch employees to you. Because he sees your faithfulness in your giving, your faithfulness in ensuring that family members are taken care of. So what does he do? He releases good employees to you, so you take care of them. They, in return, because I do ask my employees, so what do you do with your money? Oh, guess what? I gave this to somebody in this. I gave this to, because you have now become an extension of them. When there are projects they can't handle, they'll come to me and say, sir, we couldn't handle this project. We don't know how to do it. No, we don't have enough funds for it. I said, okay, tell me more about the project. They'll tell me about it. I say, go tell them. Don't tell them I brought it. You want to be an extension of God's hands? All of that you see in godly what? In godly gains. As I'm about to wrap up, I'm going to go to an area that I think we need to address, not only as summits like this, conferences like this, but even in the house of the Lord. You know, I think we need to discuss some of these things. We need to let them know. These are the things you need to know or you need to do if you want to be rich or wealthy. The things you must avoid. Avoid, number 1, loans and borrowing. You don't have the intention of paying back that money anyway, because the very first time you make money off that money, instead of you to pay, you have a reason to just say, I'm not going to pay. I'll pay later. Guy calls me back yesterday, a bit day before yesterday, says to me, sir, I'm getting ready to bring your money back to you. Okay, now money I gave to you in a bulk. You want to start giving to me $10,000. I'll take that one, do. And I'll go to Pastor Wilson's church, take that 10,000. Then I won't remember the 100,000 I put in your hands. If I give you 100,000, then give me 100,000. Now give me 10,000 today, 5,000 tomorrow, and next tomorrow. If you're not, avoid borrowing. God said you should be the lender. Number 2, costly habits. Avoid costly habits. We all have all kind of a dreaded habit or another, something that we shouldn't be doing that we keep doing. But God will help us all in Jesus' name. Amen. Number 3, avoid false prophets. Those false prophets, there was, Pastor. I don't know if you've seen them. I think the Lord will help them all. This person will win and don't win. You will have $1 million by the time you get home, you don't get. So avoid false prophet. Just tell me what you have in your mind for me to do well in life. Okay, that's good enough. If you come to me and say, because some prophet told you this and that, and because of that, we won't have a relationship, you and the first person, not church today, okay, so you and the first person should go the other way. Number 4, avoid reliance on social media. People now use social media as their way of escape. I'm not saying don't look at social media, but some person that you don't even know is giving you a counsel that's so ungodly. Go to work. If you and your husband are not doing well on the job, find another guy and then marry that guy. That will be your husband, job husband, and at least there's nothing wrong with it. You are not crossing the line. And then what happens is that you just pour out your heart to that person. And then they modified it. They even had this on NPR News. They said, no, why do that? Find if the person is gay. And then in that case, you can have work husband and work husband that is gay, so it won't be a big problem. So you're already promoting the gay status. And the devil is what? Number 5, avoid bad counsel. You will even know if the counsel is wrong. If it's bad, you would know. But these days we have refused to follow when the Spirit of the Lord is ministering to us. We say, this person's voice is very, very strong about this case. And they seem to be eloquent. Be careful about eloquent talkers. Number 6, avoid unfruitful friendship. You have some friendship, you don't even know why you have them. I go through my list. God knows, I don't even know how many people I have on my phone, Kenny. So what I do is just go every now and then. I've not heard from this person. Okay, thank God. I've not heard from you. Just put do not. Don't delete their name or number. Just say do not answer call. Because why? Because they were unfruitful. If a friend comes to you and all they talk about is how to bring somebody else down, which means they are down. They are just pulling you down with them. Number 7, avoid greed. That's said. Number 8, avoid multiple level marketing. When I said that one time at one conference, one person raised up their hand. They wanted to challenge me on that point. I told her, I'm the one with the microphone. I'm not discussing it with you. You do what you want to do. Do you know 3 months later they called me. They reached out to me. Said, thank you so much for sharing that point. I know that day I was saying something on the contrary, but you were right. This my gray hair. I didn't buy it. It's gray. Even if I cut it all the time, it still comes out gray. I didn't buy it. Function of going through things in life. Avoid deals that are confusing. Somebody will come, oh, you won't believe it. Both of us are going to make so much money. Say, oh, really? Say, well, you know what? I'm going to tell A, and A will tell Z that C is taking a nap, and then D. So by the time they go through all the rigmarole, you'll be like, what's this deal about again now? If it's not A, B, C, just say, I am not doing. Save yourself some money and heartache. Number 10, avoid chronic complainers. We are talking about godly gains. Chronic complainers, they don't stop complaining about one thing or another. They don't complain about the business, they complain about their pastor. If not their pastor's wife. If not their pastor's wife, they complain about pastor's kids or even other employees. My employees, you don't come none of them will come to complain about somebody else to me, because they know where I stand. The moment you start complaining about somebody else, I say, But that's why I've kept them as much as I have. And then, number 11, avoid those who are always right. There are some people you know in life that are always right. Avoid them. Avoid them. Okay? Then, if you go through these points that we have said, you will see that with you starting up the business we talked about, you have no choice but to make it. I gave you those examples. And I have also told you, I said, what do you come to the table with? What did you come with? What do you know that you can really market and make happen for folks and for yourself? Unless you have something to work with, you can pray from today till next year. God will say the same way he said to Moses, what do you have in your hands? What do you have in your hands? And the gentleman, pastor, introduced me and said he's a licensed CPA. Do you know of all the things, even with my PhD and everything, is that license that I protect the most? Forget the PhD. That's why they can't take that from me again. But the licensed CPA, they can take the license from me. We make sure the things that we do when it relates to that, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. You want to make it? You want to pivot? You want to create your own world? Follow those little points that I shared with you. You will come back next year, 2 years' time, you say to me, God has really showed me how to profit. That's what you say. Because he will say to you, I will show you the direction you should go. That's the direction. The direction, he says, this is the direction. Open up a home health care. Open up an Uber business. Open up a Turo business. Open up an accounting firm. Open up a consulting firm. Open up a baby sitter center care or whatever. He will come up with all these ideas for you. The money you make out of it, remember, it's not yours. Right. It's not yours. Use that money, bless your family, make sure your family is taken care of. But then there are some extensions. Your family is not just this one. There's some extensions. And those extensions, you make sure you bless them. That's what godly gains is about. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Godfrey. So I'm sure we know how to profit now, right? And like I said, after the break, we're going to be having questions. So if there are things that are not clear, please put them down. So we are going to be asking both of them questions after the break. But I'm sure we were blessed by that information that we get. So please help me appreciate Dr. Godfrey. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing from your wealth of experience. We truly, truly appreciate that. Amen. So the next speaker is somebody I call my GQ pastor. He's ever young. And he's also a man of style. So, if you know Pastor Wale very well. And he's also somebody that is, when you also said, very loving, caring, and always reaching out want the best for you. And over the years since I came to this country, when I'm stuck in some things, he's one of the person I run to give me some godly ideas. And like I also said before, he's not just apostle in the pulpit, he's also an apostle in the marketplace. Have a lot of wealth of experience as a pastor and also as a businessman and in other areas. So Pastor Wale Akiosu, known for his dedication and servant leadership style, in the pioneer pastor in ROCCG in Illinois. He has served the church in diverse roles from over 28 years. He was pastor in Nigeria before relocating to the U.S. in 1996. A founding member and assistant pastor at Jesus House Chicago for 14 years. He left to lead Shambo Community Church in 2010, where he is today the senior pastor. Pastor Wale Akiosu holds many professional degrees, BSc in finance, MBA, graduate of Harvard Business School, worked as management consultant with Deloitte Consulting for over 14 years, focusing on technology transformation and post-acquisition integration. Pastor Wale Akiosu is a licensed faith-based counselor, a faculty with Redeemer Leadership Institute, Akron, where he taught leadership principle, church administration, and technology integration to more than 400 churches in North America. Pastor Wale Akiosu has written, authored several books. Pastor Wale is passionate about young adults and professionals whom he mentored and constantly challenged to live as ambassador of the gospel. He was leader of ROCCG North America Young Adult Ministry for many years. Pastor Wale and his wife, Pastor Foluke, have been married for over 34 years and still counting, and blessed with 3 children. Please, gathering of the saints, join me as I welcome the senior pastor, Pastor Wale Akiosu of Shambo Community Church. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Greetings from Shambo Community Church. I bring you greetings from my wife of a few years. I need help with timing. So let me time myself. I know you've been sitting down for a while and you've been listening for a minute. So I want to keep this fast so that you can get to ask me questions that Dr. Godfrey will answer. It's my boss too. I'm trying to run my own clock here so that we will make sure that we stay on time. It's good to be here with Pastor Wilson. Thank you. Where should I point it? To the front, to the back? Where is the base? The base is with you there? All right, why don't you just click it through for me because it will keep failing. Don't do slideshow because then it will try to do the transitions. Just take it out of slideshow so you can get all the transitions removed from there. Or maybe I didn't put it on yet. I was just trying to be fancy. What I want to share today is very simple. It talks about creating your own world. I was very intrigued when Pastor was talking about creating your own world. I'm like, how do you create your own world? And the world around you is already set. But there are many principles that I would like to. Nothing I'm going to tell you is what you haven't heard before. But one of them that I just want to highlight for maybe about 15 or 20 minutes. And then we can go to conversations. All right? And so today, let me ask a rhetorical question. Anybody here who has been at the same job for 5 years and is still in the same position? Let me see your hand up. Everyone, you're in the same position you've been for the last 5 years. And where do you plan to be in the next 10 years? At the same position? Probably not. And so that means that everyone aspires to move forward and to grow up and to change where you are in your perspective. And so anybody who does not change where they are, there's another word for them. If you are in the same class this year, and you are in the same class next year, and you are in the same class the following year, you have not moved forward. But you really didn't go backwards because you just stayed in the same place. But the way that life will look at you like you have not made progress. And so creating your world, as I want to share it with you today, is about going from where you are at level 1 to going to where you are at different levels. And that usually entails some amount of leadership skills. Everybody that I know, you know someone who's a bad leader at your place of work, in your church, in your department, in the group, in your family. And I'm sure as I'm saying it now, somebody's jumping to your mind right now as an example of a bad leader. But don't say anything. What happens is they teach you to do your job well. They teach you to do everything well. But in the process of going up, growing up, becoming the top of your profession, you become some sort of a leader that many people are not equipped for, prepared to do, or willing to run into. I've known Dr. Godfrey for many years. When I knew him many years ago, he was much younger. I still had hair. And they were not gray. And some of the things I hear him talking about now, giving us advice on things to do and not to do, that he didn't get them by buying, but they came from experience. Now, he has emerged as a leader in his industry. And so if we talk about licensed CPAs in the city of Chicago, you will not count 5 before you will go and look for Dr. Akomu. There's something about growing up that makes you a leader in life. When you are young, your family will not really pay too much attention to you. But at some point in time, they will begin to ask you, what should we do? How should we do it? And it's not necessarily because you are the one that has all the money, but all the right and wrong reasons make you come there. So in being able to do that, you create your own environment. You create your own world. You create the sort of place you want to live in. And so in the next 20 minutes, I want to share with you what I have termed about creating your own world, which is learning to lead. So if you want that, to write that down, learning to lead. I have seen many people that became successful that didn't learn to become leaders. One of the people that I like the most Charles Barkley, basketball player. How many of you know who Charles Barkley is? Yeah, only a few people. Charles Barkley is one of the most successful basketball players. Charles Barkley on national TV, he said, I should not be your role model to teach you how to raise your children simply because I know how to dunk a basketball. In other words, I know how to play basketball, but that's all I know in life. Don't copy me. Don't follow me. Don't let me be your example. Just leave me alone. And there are many people around today that you know like that you, even though they are successful, you don't want them to be anywhere behind you in what you are leading. And I know some people jump to your mind, but keep that by yourself. So today I will share with you, go to the next slide. I'll share with you some things, depending on how much time we have. Leadership truths, some truths about leadership, some priorities of good leadership, some leadership lessons that I have learned in some stages in leadership. And why do you need this? The easiest thing to do is to get promoted at your job. Now, this was my own experience. I worked in banking many years ago, and I was the customer sales rep. I opened bank accounts. I made commissions when people came to open accounts and do CDs and things like that. Then I got promoted to be the teller supervisor. And then I went from the customer service rep to be the teller supervisor in the bank. Then after a while, I became the branch manager. Again, another promotion to be branch manager. In the same bank, in the same branch. What do you think my biggest challenge in that place would have been? Anybody want to guess what my biggest challenge would be? People you met there that you keep promoting you over. People will be envying you. See finish. All those are ways to define the leadership problem that I had. And so, the people that we used to go together to the coffee room to go and complain about what the boss did not do, I now became the boss that they were complaining about. So when I would enter the room, the same people that we were talking together about that stupid manager, when I then entered the room, they then kept quiet. So I knew I had become the stupid manager. One of the easiest things to do is to lead your colleagues and your peers. But nothing prepares you in life for taking on that role. So if you must create your world, if you must enhance the world in which you live in, you have to learn basic, fundamental, statutory, elementary principles of leadership. Call it whatever you want. You must know how to deal with them. And I am painting this over and again so that you will wonder, why are we talking about leadership today when all I came here to do is to learn about how to change my world? Let me say this to you. I can talk about industry. Today, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Let me put it that way. I pastor, just like Dr. Godfrey here is talking about. You don't see my gray hair, but it is there. Or you can see it. And why I'm telling you all of this is you must get into leadership. Now, I've been told before that not everybody is born to be a leader. True or false? Everybody can be a leader. Do you agree or you disagree? If you agree that everybody can be a leader, let me see your hands up. If you think only some people are born to be leaders, let me see your hands. Only some people are born to be leaders. Whatever answer you give is what is going to drive what you're doing. But there's nobody that cannot be a leader. There's something that they talk about, whether you are born a leader or whether you learn to be a leader. It's called the nature of how you were born or nurture of how you were taught. So in nature versus nurture, psychologists have found what the Bible always told us, that you can be taught to be anything. Joshua in chapter 1, of Joshua. The Bible said, God told Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now arise, lead these people that I have given to this place and take them over the Jordan. Joshua was Moses' assistant pastor. Joshua was Moses' assistant manager. Moses could not lead them into the promised land. But all of us here, Christians, God told us that what your boss and your pastor cannot do, you will do it. That's essentially what that was talking about. That Moses could not take them into the promised land, but he's saying that Joshua, who is coming up after him, who is younger, who is less experienced, who has an accent like you and I, can do what the man who was God anointed could not do. So in the next 15 minutes, let's write this down about what are leadership truths. Who is a leader? Who is a leader? If you go on there, leadership is different by industry. In who you can take pictures of it, so it's easier for you if you take pictures of them like that. So then you can go back and write down your notes. This is why I said I was trying to be fancy, so you can focus on listening to me as opposed to writing. Leadership is something different. The first day that I became a leader in the bank where I was working, fresh out of school. And you can imagine what I knew about leadership. All I knew about leadership did not prepare me for anything. Would you like to know how much I knew about leadership? Would you like to know? Close your eyes for a minute. I made money early in life, and I blew it in one particular transaction that my wife told me don't do it. God bless women. They have a sense that men don't understand. My wife told me don't do it, but I was like, what do you mean don't do it? I've been doing all of this. Say, this one is not good. I did it. The rest is history. Go to the next slide. Growing up and leadership. Everybody has to succeed. And you have to grow up in leadership. Michael Jordan. Today they hail Michael Jordan as the best basketball player of all times. But you know, all sorts of people have been saying all sorts of things about him. He has not replied to anybody. People are saying all sorts of things about Michael, but he doesn't reply to anybody about anything. Midway through your life, Michael Jordan became a success. But his success was not based on his skills only. He now had to take a cast of people along with him in order to be successful. Write this down. If you want to go quickly, go alone. But to go far, take your team. To go quickly, you go alone. But to go far, take your team. Michael was an excellent star. He could score many points. He has one of the records of the highest scores in the NBA today. But if he did not carry his team along with him, he would never have won 6 championships. So no matter what anybody says today about Michael, whether he was good or not, he has been able to carry the team of excellent players all along with him, and that's what made him good. There comes a time when your skill and what you learn and know how to do will get you to the point where you can go no further. And then after that, you then need the people around you. Write this down. There are no great people in life. There are only greatly helped people. If you see anybody that you think is great, it's because they received help greatly. They received great help. And so in anything that you are going to do, you must have a mentor, a role model, someone you are looking at that has done what you are talking about or what you want them to do or what you plan to do. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything you are seeing has been done by somebody before. You just have to figure, who is it that you are going to follow? Who is it that you are going to use as your example in what you want to do? I remember, I will share an example with you. When I got to our current church many years ago, and the place we were worshiping was too small for us, and we were looking for somewhere to buy, to move to. And all I could just figure out was, let's move from this place that can seat 120 people to another place that can seat maybe 250 people. So maximum 10,000 square feet was what I was looking for. You can't do that in the city of Chicago, but in the village, we villagers, in the village of Schaumburg, where I live, we can aspire to that kind of space. So I got on a plane and flew to Dallas to go to my friend who pastors a church similar to ours there. We went to school together in Nigeria many years ago. He's my colleague in many ways. His wife and my wife are good friends. And I was looking for 10,000 square feet to buy. When the man told me what he was looking to buy, he said he wanted to buy a 40,000 square foot facility that has football field at the back, that he can build parking lots in front, and on the side he's going to build high-rise apartments that members can rent whenever they're coming from afar, and across the street they will have a football field. And I was sitting down there thinking to myself, what's wrong with you that what's wrong with you that you cannot see all these things, and somebody else is with the same two eyes that I have, in the same place that we grew up. He can see all of this, and all I can see is just 20,000, it's just 10,000. So by the time I came back, I didn't look at anything that was 10,000 square feet again. Anything that was less than 40,000 square feet, I was not looking at it. And so all of our members were telling me, say, Pastor, softly, oh. Say, Pastor, do it gently, oh. And it is that same principle that I've carried in church that I have carried in life about the things where we go to. I am an incurable optimist. I believe the best will come out of any situation. And if you fall down one time, that means you've now known how to step so you won't fall down that way again. So I pick myself up and I keep going. We ended up in the place where we were. That's a long story. It's 26,000 square feet. When I entered, the place has like 16 doors. And sometimes we don't get to one place. Pastor, you have been there. I don't get to one place or the other. And when people come in and say, how did you manage to do this? My answer is, I don't know. I just told you what I did in terms of business. I don't know how we got there, one day at a time. But you never know how far you have gone until you look back to see where you are coming from. Are you with me? Okay. So let me share some leadership truths with you. Go to the next slide. Some leadership truths. Let me share them with you. Because all I'm trying to do is make you understand that everybody here must be some type of a leader. Do I hear amen? If you disagree with me, let's talk about it now so we can have a separate conversation on the side. The first leadership truth I want to tell you is that leadership varies by context. And what it means to be a leader in church is different than what it means to be the nurse leader. It's different than what it means to be the managing partner. It's different than what it means to be the leader at your job. It differs across industries and everything you want to look at. Okay? Number two, being successful and being a leader are not the same thing. I know successful people that are not good leaders. Sean Combs, I would never follow anything that he does. You all know him as P. Diddy. Where is he today? Don't tell me. Wealth does not equal good leadership. And all of these things I'm telling you, leadership is about learning through failures. Some of the things I will tell you, I'm sharing with you now, I've failed through them, I've fallen through them. You pick yourself up. Leadership skills are honed in the place of mistakes that you have made along the way. Go to the next slide. So now, you might tell me I am not a good leader. Go back one. You might tell me I'm not a good leader, or I'm not even in leadership, or why should I care about all of this? Anything we're sharing today, you may not need it yet, but hold it and keep it in your hands. Because you will remember one day that you came to the conference that Pastor Wilson put together and some of the things they were teaching us then. Because it happens to me. The first day that I read the book, and I will quote from him, Developing the Leader in You by John Maxwell. I used to think John Maxwell was full of hot air. I used to think he was full of hot air. Because the man will write all sorts of things, put big grammar inside it. But then I read it, and one of these days when I came down to it, it suddenly occurred to me that what this man was saying, it rang true, but I had to get there first. So one of two ways. You can wait until it is your turn, and then you will feel it, or you can start preparing for it now. But I can tell you this very clearly. If you don't learn from history, you will repeat the mistakes of the past. Let me say that again. If you don't learn from history, if you don't learn from the history of people who have gone ahead of you, you will repeat mistakes of the past that you have no business repeating. I'm glad that we all look like each other in some way, shape, or form. I'm tall, dark, and handsome. I don't know about you. But I'm glad we look like each other. The first day I walked into my job, they told me, you have an accent. I was like, yeah, you have an accent too. Everybody has an accent. At some point in time, I used to be embarrassed when they asked me, where are you from? Then I would stylishly answer them, I'm from Naperville. I'm from, see how she laughed. No, I mean, where are you from? You mean yesterday or this morning? Because this morning I came from Naperville. No, I mean, where are you from originally? Then we would dodge the question because it meant something different. But today, being an African is something of pride. It's something of pride. I go out and people ask me, where are you from? And I look at them and I said, take a guess. They ask me, what is your name? I tell them, they say, pronounce it. I said, no, give it a try. Someone asked me to pronounce my name. Then I asked them, what is the name of that governor of Illinois that went to jail? Blah something. Have you ever heard of his name? Blagojevich. 14 letters with only 3 vowels. But people can pronounce it. I said, don't worry, you will learn my name very soon. So I am so proud now to be an African. I am so proud to be a Nigerian because all of us are doing extremely well in different areas of our lives. But there are priorities that you must have. And so let's step out of this building your world class and let me step down and talk to tomorrow's leaders today. So everybody I'm talking to here now, we're just entering into Leadership 101. And so help me tap your neighbor and tell them, get ready to listen. So I'm not talking about people who are not here. I'm talking about leaders who are sitting down here waiting to manifest. We're looking at leaders who are waiting to step out into the world. We're looking at leaders who are getting ready to become all the directors of nursing, all of the assistant principals, all of the accountants, and all of the leaders. We're waiting for them here to unravel on the world outside. But you must have it inside you because what you don't have, you can't give. If you knock over a glass of orange juice, Coca-Cola will not pour out. It's what is inside you that will pour out. So pending the time that you will need to pour, feel yourself. Are you there? Priorities of a good leader. Since we're talking to leaders now. Doctor, am I doing okay? Priorities of a good leader. Number 1, you must be able to cast vision. Talk about what you're seeing. You must see beyond where you are now. If someone comes along and says, I want to pray for you, it's okay, you can pray. I don't know anybody who says no to prayer. But you can't pray for me for God to give me what I already have. Pastor Godfrey, I pray God will give you a Volvo, but you already have a Mercedes. Why do you need a Volvo? You must be willing to see beyond where you are today and talk about it. Great vision does not make you a leader, but you cannot be a leader without great vision. So you must see where you are going. Number 2, leadership is about development and delegation. And we will talk about this a little bit. While you are going towards your own goal, looking at somebody ahead of you, you must have somebody that you are teaching and pulling along. And you're probably going to say, what do I know? I can't teach anybody. That's not true. I have one of the young men who works with me in the office. I call him sometimes and I ask him, what should we do? How should we do this? And he would tell me all the things that he needs to know. Then he would send me at the end of the day, PW, because that's what they call me. Say, PW, you already know the answer, so why are you asking me? I said, no, I don't know the answer, but when I get your own answer, and I get your own answer, and I get your own answer, I'll put everything together, and then I will get our answer. Because I always try to make them feel like they were part of it. So you must also be practicing leadership development, delegating effectively. One of the things I like to do in life is this. Anything I can get somebody else to do, I won't do it. Anything else, anything I can get somebody to do, I'm not going to do it. Why? If that is not my particular skill or my particular advantage, I'm not doing it. Let me give you a very simple example. It doesn't matter to you people because you people you live in the city, but Dr. Godfrey can relate to this. In my house, we have lawn in the front of the house. During summer, you have to mow the lawn. In winter, snow falls. During winter, you have to clear the snow. So in order to clear the snow, you need a snow blower. In order to mow the lawn, you need a lawn mower. So I would buy lawn mower for summer and snow blower for winter, so that I can come back from my travel and come and do it. So I told my wife one day, I said, I'm not doing this again. She said, what do you mean? I said, let's go and get somebody that we will pay him $80 a month. In summer, he will cut the lawn. In winter, he will sweep the snow. And when he doesn't do it, I have earned the right to yell at him because I have now paid him. So my role has now become the supervisor. So when he doesn't do it, I make sure I wake up in the morning before my wife wakes up, and she will hear me on the phone. Hey, Alfonso, Rahelio, Bajabi Amila, you have not come to clear the snow today. And my wife will say, good man, you are doing well. You are looking after your family. But am I not doing it? But anything I can get somebody else to do, I won't do it. So delegate. And you must learn to delegate anywhere that you are. You can even delegate up, but that's another subject for another day. Number 3, climate control. What do I mean by climate control? I'm talking to leaders now, right? Yes. Climate control. You set the mood for everything going on inside the place where you are. There's a difference between the thermostat and the thermometer. And I know you all know what the difference is. You see that device on the wall? That device on the wall. What does it do? It regulates. But not only does it regulate, it also tells you what the temperature is. So when I go in there now to look, it will tell me this room is at 66. All right? That's what the thermostat does. It tells you what the temperature is. But if you want to take the temperature up or down, all you do is push a button on it. And you tell that button, I want it to go to 68 or 67. And automatically, it will change the environment and the climate in the room. So much so that it will go from where it is, where you saw it, to where you decide that you want it to go. That is what good leaders are. They are the ones that are the thermostat in the room and not just the thermometer. They don't reflect of what the room is. You know, some people, when they are nice to you, you are nice back to them. But when they are ugly to you, you give it back to them. You're just like a mirror. That's not what leaders do. A good leader is like an automated thermostat. Whenever you enter the room, everybody in the room must wonder, what did you smoke this morning? What did you drink? What kind of air did you breathe? So that when you enter the room, you change the environment. You enter the room and everybody brightens up. People want to be around you. Do you know anybody like that? That no matter whatever is happening to them, they're cheerful. They're cheerful people. They change the temperature in the room. Everybody will look for you. They want to be around you. So when things are going down, they will come to you and they say, you know what's going up? You know, I tell people that that's like my wife. She does not work for Comed, but when she enters the room brightens up. NEPA care. NEPA that has taken light for many days and you don't even know what you're doing. You call them the life of the party. They enter the room and everybody gravitates towards them. They are smiling no matter what is going on. You think they don't have problems? No. Write this down. You must never look like where you are coming from. You must never look like where you're coming from. How much time do I have left? 5 minutes, 7 minutes? 4. Okay. You must never look like where you're coming from. So if you enter a room and people can tell that you had a bad day coming into the room, everybody's going to avoid you. So when you come this way, and somebody greets you good morning, and you answer them, you say, Say good morning, Good morning, what's good about this morning? Good morning, say, leave me alone, I didn't remember to take my happy pill. That's what they will remember about you. So priorities of good leadership. 3 major priorities. If there's nothing else that you take away from today because of our time, is that 1, you must be able to cast a vision of where you are going. So that when people see you, they will know that this man is not staying here. This man is going somewhere. This person has dreams. This person has aspirations. And so when they hang out with you, they will take you. I hope we're all Christians here, so I can speak a little Christianese. We sing a song in church, carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go. Somebody who is not going anywhere can't carry you anywhere. It's like a packed car. You can't follow somebody who is packed somewhere doing nothing. You can't follow them anywhere. They must know you are going somewhere. Anybody who knows Pastor Wilson would have known that he was going somewhere many years ago. Now, it may take you a while to get there. It may take you a while to decide what you are doing. It may take you a long time to make up your mind about what you want to do. But see, when God wants to sort you out, he gives you a beautiful wife like this. How many of you have ever seen a pastor's wife that is not pretty? I've never seen one. You have. Don't go to that church. If the pastor's wife is not fine, what are you doing there? Hey, you should come and see my wife. God finished all the thing he was doing. He finished it on her. When you see her, don't let me start too. And then I said 3 things, and I will stop here because of time. There are many other things we can talk about, but we will stop here because it's good that I don't overload you. You've been listening for a long time. If you have other questions, I'll be happy to listen to them. But 3 things you must take away from here. As leaders, you must be going somewhere. If you are where you are now, it's good for you to learn what you're doing. But you will find out that life will always promote you to the point where you don't know what you're doing again. By the time you know everything there is to know about that job, then it's time for you to move on. By the time you know everything that you're doing on that nursing floor, and you know every corner of the place, then it's time for you to become the nursing manager. By the time you finish learning all of that, it is time for you to now go and do your master's in nursing. And keep on going until your job is new, even though you are still doing the same thing. And you must always be the climate control manager. I cannot emphasize that more than enough. You can control the climate without being the manager. You can control the climate without being the person on top. Just by entering the room and becoming infectious. When you enter the room, they will look at you and say, what is it about this guy that is always so happy? What is it about you that is always so delightful? You are around people and everybody is looking at you and they're like, this woman is so pleasant. I know you know someone that you just see them. You don't know what it is about them that you like. But when you just see them enter the room, you just like them from afar. You just like them, you don't know why. But that's just because wherever they are, they have decided that they will be the light of the world, which is what the Bible has called us to be. Amen. Oh, there's a lot more that we can talk about, but we don't have time for that. I can't believe I spoke for 37 minutes. Amazing. Thank you.
I thought it was supposed to be 45 minutes. Okay, please let's appreciate Pastor Wale. Thank you. Okay, yeah, and I think there is a lot to, to just digest. Like we said, we're going to be having 30 minutes break. And when we come back, we're going to be asking more questions from Pastor Wale and Dr. Godfrey so that we can... Okay, we'll try not to. Yes. So please, while we are waiting, put down your question. As please take a bathroom break. There is some refreshment for every one of us. So please try and just try and just relax. We will be coming back. But before then, just discuss. You can discuss with your neighbor, ask questions, put some things together. The truth is that you don't get to see these kind of things every day. Like I said, like Pastor Wiley said, he's a serial entrepreneur. This is an opportunity for us to also ask some questions. You don't want them to leave here without you going home with something. They have learned some things. Like I said, they've made a lot of mistakes. We don't want to make such mistake that they have made over the years. It is wisdom to stand in the, they say to stand in the shoulder of those who have gone ahead of you. So we have these people. So they are not just teaching theory. They are not just teaching from the book. They are teaching from the wealth of their experience. So please make sure that you ask questions, that we put all these things together. Again, thank you for coming. Pastor Wale, thank you again for taking your time out. We know that you had to make a lot of sacrifice to make sure you are here today. Thank you so much. And Dr. Godfrey, thank you so much for that. God bless you.
Father, your love is more than enough. Say, Father, your love covers me. Father, your
your story. Come on, sing it with us.
Hello, everyone. I hope we are having a good time. So while you are also watching things, please, I want us to please make sure we also pay attention. And if we have questions, please, you raise up your hand. I believe Brother Larry or Brother Shegun will help us to reach out if there is anyone. So if you don't want to ask your question directly, you can write them on the write them and send them. We will definitely ask them for you. So without wasting much of our time again, I'm going to be bringing up our guest speaker. So please, again, welcome with me this afternoon, Dr. Godfrey. Please help me welcome Dr. Godfrey as he comes to. Amen. Please, you can do better than that. Your mouth, even though your mouth is busy, please. Okay. Thank you, sir. Please also welcome Pastor Wale Akiosho. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking your time to share with us from your wealth of experience. We definitely do not take it for granted. And we are glad that we are going to learn and take some nuggets from this place. I believe after this time that we are going to be better business men and women, and we're going to be good staff. We're going to be a better person in every of our endeavor. Okay, thank you so much. Before we we're going to, please, could you please hold that? Could you please hold that? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to be asking some questions because, of course, time did not permit them to share a lot of things. But we will want them to dive a little bit deeper. Okay, this time I'm going to first of all ask Pastor Wale, because I believe there is a question they want him to really dwell or emphasize more on. Yeah, you were talking about the temperature or atmosphere. Could you please maybe shed more light on that for us when we are talking of in an organization, a church, and also let me also extend by home. Could you please help us and share more light on that, sir? Thank you.
I thought that, hello, can you hear me? No, it will turn it on. Just turn up the mic so we can, there you go. I thought that was fairly simple, but it's just a choice that you decide to make in being the encourager. So if you look at it in church, there will always be things that will not go right or that will go sideways or differently. And everybody will be complaining about why it didn't get done. And so People will come to you and gravitate to you if you become the solution to problems. Here is what I say is that by one man, sin came into the world, Adam. And by one man, salvation and change came into the world, Jesus. So you can be that one person that will make the difference in any of the environments. I'll tell you a story of while I was in banking. I was a branch manager, and I worked with a bank then called St. Paul Federal Bank. They've been acquired now by Charter One that got acquired by Fifth Third. But I was a branch manager at St. Paul Federal, and when I became the branch manager, I was foolish enough as a Christian that when I got into the branch and they said we were having trouble, I said to all of them, let's pray. And I didn't realize how stupid it was because they went back and reported me to HR that I was asking people to pray in the office. It was equally as volatile then as it was now. And HR didn't say anything. I didn't even know that I was reported until we got to a meeting of managers. And at the meeting of managers, there were about 65, 67 of us managers. And I remember the marketing manager then, he was an Italian, blonde, Tony Sisto. He said, before we start the meeting, I understand now that there is some man in one of our branches who's now been praying for us that what we need now is prayer more than anything else. Can you please call Wale to come out here and come and pray for us? That was the first time I knew that they had gone to report me to HR. Now, I sat in the back of the hall because I was the only black manager there. But can you imagine how tall I was between the time I walked from the back of the room to the front? Can you imagine how tall I had become? Now, the whole meeting was now stopped to come and pray, even though they thought it was a Hail Mary. But it was my moment to shine because I had decided that I was going to be different. So you can be different at work. When they start cracking all those their funny jokes, don't be laughing with them. Don't be the one that will be starting the jokes. Don't be the one that will be inciting the jokes. I went out to eat with my colleagues some time ago at work. And when we got there, everybody bought booze and they put it on the table. And I said to them, guys, you can't drink because I'm here and you can't put all this booze on the table. And they said to me, Wale, you have started again with all this your extremism. I said, you knew I was a pastor before you called me. I said, so now if we put all this booze on the table in front of us and my members come into the room, which one of us is not drinking? So I insisted that I was not going to. I said, but if you guys want to drink, I won't sit down here and join you, but you can bring my food, pack my food for me. I'll wait for you in the car. Then they argued among themselves. And at the end of it, they said, you know what, today we won't drink it because you are here. But next time we're coming, we won't call you to come along. I said, that's fine. I became the thermostat in that room that day. When we got back to the office, they knew the people who were praying and the people who were not. So when it was time for them to look for somebody to help them, they knew whom to call to. Do they know that you're a Christian at work? It's not what you say. It's what you do. You know, sometimes what you do is so loud that people don't hear what you say. You can decide that it doesn't make a difference what is going on. I would just be cheerful. So everybody, I have a trick question. Can I ask a trick question?
Sure.
They wanted to reduce our staff strength by 25%, which meant that they had to fire or reduce one of the 4 people that was there. And so they decided to take a pool. And they said, should we reduce all 4 of you, reduce your salary by 25%, or should we just fire one person? That's the manager came to ask us. So let me see by a show of hands. If you are going to reduce your staff cost by 25%, will you fire one person of the 4 and leave 3? or just reduce everybody by 25%? No answer is right or wrong. Let me see your hand up if you will fire one person. You fire one person. Fire one person. Who will reduce everybody by 25%? You will reduce everybody by 25%. Who doesn't know what they will do? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a perspective of where you are. But the answer to that question turned out to be that the people who are able to make objective decisions will fire one person. And those turned out to be the more successful managers. Because now you are not clouded with emotions. So you don't make emotional decisions. You make logical decisions. If you reduce everybody by 30%, that means both the good and the bad have now been reduced. So there's no motivation for anybody to stay again. If you fire one person, then everybody else is looking to leave because maybe it will soon be my turn to be fired. It's only the people that can find work elsewhere that will go. The other people who can't find, they will still be there. And thank you. So when they asked me, what should you do? I didn't even blink. I said, let one of us go. They said, what if you are the one that we need to go? I said, if it is me, I will find something else outside. They said, are you so sure? I said, me? Here? So let's go. I said, but if I resign, will you give me 2 months' salary? They laughed. Guess who they fired last? I left there by myself. When I was ready to go, I left by myself. Because my attitude was very infectious to everybody around. So when they entered the room and everybody is being gloomy, I said, what's wrong with you? You still have a job. You came here this morning. You are going back home. You still have a job. The person who left yesterday, they have fired him, is no longer here. So why are you crying? Just do it and move on. And that is how you become the thermostat that affects the room. It's a good thing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Let's Pastor ask. There you go.
Who is bringing the mic, please? Yeah. So for
Okay, Doctor, when you were talking, you made mention about don't pay yourself, but risk yourself.
Risk your pay.
So please, can you elaborate on that?
Okay, that's a very good question. So that question came about, I want to say, I was in Toronto, Canada 2 years ago for a conference, and someone cornered me asking me a question. Said, how much should I be paying myself? How much should I be paying myself? You know, things like that. I said, why are you paying yourself? Well, risk your pay. He said, what does that mean? That means the money that you would have been paying yourself, invest that money in the company that you are forming, so that the company can expand, the company can grow. A lot of CEOs, they make over $500,000. So if you decide to take the $500,000 for yourself, how does the company grow without you borrowing money from the outside? So you risk your pay, don't pay yourself, you risk your pay. As the CEO of my company, I've not even gotten paid this year.
Who's the fool?
But okay, that is the question I wanted to ask him. The thing is, even though he has not gotten paid, and I don't want to say it, I want him to say it, but at least I know how much he has given out this year. So I guess it just balanced.
Yes, it balances.
Okay, you still have a question.
Doctor, because you said risky, don't pay yourself. I have bills to pay. So how do I go about paying my bills?
Okay. Remember, you are a staff to the company, so you do that. Now, if you own the company, a smart business owner will channel all its expenses through their LLC. All ALL. I don't pay any single bill today. My company pays it through my ALLC. So that's why. The only thing, Taiwo is here. She's part of our company. They know that I've done. The only thing they've done for me this year is to buy me a brand new Mercedes Benz.
Thank God will show you. Maybe it's my turn now.
Okay, Doctor, in essence, what you're trying to say is, like, if my business has, electric bills, and I have bills at home, I should combine them together. God bless you.
Let me just make one point here. There was one point I didn't get to make during my presentation. It was one of those last points that I said you can read in Godly Gains. Is forming an LLC. Every single one of you here, form it, have it. You don't have to be using it today. You don't have to have the big contract today, but just have it. In 5 years down the road, they now say we are looking for a company in Chicago. And then you say, oh, because they are looking for a company, I'm going to go form a company. They will say the company is too green for us to deal with. But if you tell them, oh, I formed mine about 4 or 5 years ago, and we've not had any major deals, they will take you first before that person that formed theirs that very day. So form it, just have it, let it be there. You would only pay $50 or $60 in annual renewal fees. So what? $50 or $60 won't kill you. And then as a matter of fact, if you have that company, your car note, your house rent, your telephone bill, your light bill, you put all through that LLC. It will be written off for you. You get a good tax refund. This is not even a game. This is real. People are making money from in April, May, March and April. That's when they make money from the government. I have clients that make $200,000 in tax refunds. If I ask most of you now, you probably tell me only $4,000 that you're getting. If that person can get $200,000, why can't you?
Let me lay on that, because what you are looking for is not something that is going to be for everybody's attention. Okay. One of the things that I sort of have an idea where your head is. What you need is this. Listen to me, guys. Listen. If you prepare your taxes by yourself, if you are the one that's been preparing your taxes by yourself, let me see your hands. You use TurboTax, any of those tax things, you prepare your taxes by yourself. Let me see your hands. You do your taxes by yourself. Is your husband a knowledgeable tax preparer? He uses TurboTax and one of those things. Yeah. Please don't do it again. Go and look for a paid tax preparer, and I will tell you why. There is something called an S corporation. All right? He's been telling you about incorporating your company. The long-term benefit is that you can do business with it. The short-term benefit, and I'm not trying to give you tax advice now. 80% of the young people in our church have corporations. 80%. And I tell them what you need to do is go and file your corporation, go and make it an S, subchapter S corporation. All those expenses you are talking about, you pass them through your corporation, so that when you are preparing your taxes, you will get the $200,000 that is talking about. So that $4,000 or $20 you are saving on preparer, you are being penny wise. And this is a serious challenge that I'm giving you. You don't need to believe me. Go to ChatGPT. I'm sure you all know what ChatGPT is. Go to ChatGPT and put in your search engine, what is the benefit of an S corporation? Let me stop again so you can write it down. because I know you're looking at me like you have photographic memory. Go to ChatGPT. Don't sleep now because the food is going well. Go to ChatGPT and type inside, you that is at the machine at the back. Don't be looking at there's a signboard. Don't be a signboard pointing everybody to heaven and not going anywhere. Go to ChatGPT and type inside there, what is the benefit of S Corporation for tax benefit?
I was just going to add.
Only 7. That's the beginning. Now each one of them has
Something.
Let me tell you a lie. Donald Trump, in the last 10 years, has paid maximum of $20,000 a year, and he's a multi-billionaire. If Donald Trump makes 15 billion, let's even say he makes only 1 billion. Let's say he makes only 1 billion.
Just say 1 billion.
Let's say he makes only 1 billion. 1 billion is a million in a million places. And he pays 20,000 in taxes. Then they called him crooked. And he said, I'm not crooked. I just know what the tax law is. So that means that those of us who are paying taxes and you don't make a million, it means that you are something.
Yeah, he says that you are fools.
I wasn't going to call anybody a fool.
Just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Why
are you paying tax when all the people who have money in America are not paying tax? And the reason why you haven't done it is because you are ignorant. So after today, you can't say you are ignorant again.
I was just going to add to what Pastor just said. I think it was 2.5 or 3 years ago, the men's team from your church invited me over. You remember? Okay. And we discussed.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. And they went and they did this S Corp and so on and so forth. I actually still have clients from.
When we did it, a lot of people went to Open S Corporation. Then they started asking me, who should we go to for taxes? I said, who taught you how to do it? He said, Dr. Godfrey. I said, go back to him. So I'm sure you still have a lot of people from.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah, Cheyenne, you have the question.
So that was a car discussion. I remember when I said we were discussing it in car now, away from in Atlanta. Because we run into new clients like you guys, parishioners that would want to actually taste some of the work that we do, we of course will bring you all in, okay? And then if
you have to have money.
Cheyenne, ask your question, please.
I have like a two-parted question. Firstly, I know that you mentioned to do an LLC and then and then an S corporation. Yeah. But how do we pick which one to do? Or do we do both? And then my second question is, if we write everything off as a tax write-off, if we own a corporation, then how are we able to purchase anything if it's shown that we do not own anything? Or do we only purchase it through that LLC or that S corporation?
Okay, these are, let me tell you why I like this conference, because it's very practical, right? It's very practical. That's why all of you should plan to come next year. And I was telling Pastor, this space will not be enough for us next year. Let us get a bigger space, for more people and advertise it a whole lot more, so you have a lot more people coming through here. Okay, so you can call that a prophecy if you want to, but it will happen. Amen.
So we are bringing the money now. Yeah. We need 1.5 million.
Yeah. So that question you asked was a very valid question. Number one, the difference between LLC and S Corp. Okay, they have the same characteristics. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the reason there's an S Corp is because S Corp in its subchapter X was the first one before the LLC. With the S Corp, they made it a form whereby it's only those that are U.S. citizens and or green card holders that can be part of the S Corp. So an uncle in Lagos cannot be part of your S Corp. Whereas the LLC, an uncle even in the deepest part of Oshodi or whatever can be part of your LLC. Okay, so there's that difference there, but in terms of characteristics, they are the same. Okay, so question pertaining to writing things off. Yesterday, a client of mine called me. They want to buy a car. They wanted to know whether it should be made through the S Corp or should they just make it through individual payment. With an individual, I don't have anywhere to write off your car for you, by the way. There's no provision. There's something called 2106, right, where I can actually do that, but then get yourself ready to be audited. They don't believe in anything that you put in there. When I was in IRS, that's the same thing I was running after. People like Pastor Wallace, members that would give a lot of money in church, I was the one auditing them. And God caught up with me. I'm the one giving churches money now. You know, so the truth of the matter is that I don't have anywhere to keep your Mercedes-Benz if you have an individual, expense. But if you have an S Corp, you can claim it as a business expense. You claim it as a business expense. And that business expense will flow through something called K1. K1 is the linking pin between your individual and your business. Yes, Schedule K1. Okay, so you need that. Okay, I mean, like all my clients, oh, God forbid, if you are making more than 100 and you don't have an S Corp or an LLC, I'll tell you I won't take you as a client. I mean, because it's a waste of my time and a waste of your time. And the days of doing taxes for only $100, those days are over. No, inflation don't come.
That's why I said you should have money.
Yes.
Did I answer your question?
No. One part.
Okay.
Just because I was wondering, but which one should I pick? I know that you said that with the
Like
let pastors tell.
Okay.
I think
I've been answering this question for a long time.
Okay.
If this is your first time of doing it, just do a regular INC. And then after you get your corporation, that's the one that you file that says INC or COP, then you then apply to the IRS for the subchapter S. That's the one that gives you the S corporation. It is when you have the S corporation, you have the buckets in which you can put it, then you come back and then come to Dr. Godfrey for help. So what you want as a first-timer, forget about your uncle in Abule Egba. Leave him alone. You don't need him now. He doesn't need you. File your S corporation, regular corporation, leave LLC. The mistake that many Nigerians make is that we have LTD in Nigeria. And so you then equate the LTD, limited liability in Nigeria, with LLC here. They are not the same. So please renew your mind. Forget about LLC. When you get to that level where you are a big boy, then go and do LLC because then you get foreign investments. That's the benefit of LLC because you can have all sorts of participants in it. But with your corporation, it is almost like you and IRS making a deal. Does that answer you?
Okay.
Thank you both so much. So I have two questions for both of you individually.
No, Dr. Godfrey will answer.
I have your own question for you. So the first question is for Dr. Godfrey. You spoke about back against the wall. And I really would want you to talk more about how to avoid being there. And when you're there, by chance you're there, how to get up immediately without having so much on you. Should I?
I can answer that question.
All right.
Okay.
I still have Pastor Wally's question.
Ask him.
Okay.
Okay.
So my own question is still back on last year's Creating Your World conference. I had a question on delegation.
On what?
I had a question on delegation, and because I had challenges there, and the answers I got that day really helped me throughout that year up until now, and I can say I'm a lot better from that. Now, the follow-up question I will ask after that is how to help. I don't know if I should use the word my subordinates or those who have now delegated to and are now performing better at their tasks, how to help they themselves become better leaders. Because when they have the leadership mindset, it obviously makes me feel successful in that leadership role. So how do I help them become better leaders and also be able to delegate in the future? Because I know the benefits of delegation and how it helps with leadership development. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the question about our back against the wall. You see, I told you guys I was not going to do any Bible today, but at times you need Bible story to get to your point. There was this time in the life of Brother David that he had problems with King Saul. Saul was looking to kill him. David decided to run away. When he ran away, he ran to the Philistines. Okay? And before even getting there, he went through what's it called? Samuel. Okay? Listen to what happened. For you to run to your enemy's hands, that means your back is really against the wall. You're running from one enemy to another enemy. Deciding which enemy is better. Which one will not kill me first? That was what happened, David. When your back is against the wall, sometimes there's no job. Sickness came. Wife don't run. Or husband don't run. The children have gone. And then you find yourself that you are more broke than the person that you thought was broke. Your back is against the wall. You take on roles that you normally or ordinarily would not do. You won't even know when you tell somebody, don't worry, I'll be babysitting for you. I'll be doing this for you. Your dad that's not feeling well, I'll be the one to take care of them. You just have a home health care in your house. I'll come and take care of that for you. When your back is against the wall, you don't even have visa. When your back is against the wall, you don't even have social security number. When your back is against the wall, you don't even have any means for which you can even tell the government that your back is against the wall. What do? You go to folks, church members, that you can really count on, that will come and say, you know what, we have somebody that has a role for you to play. A role that ordinarily you would not play. That's why we say it's one of the quadrants of source of income. When you really don't know what to do. You've prayed though, and then, you say, okay, I've prayed, but God has not answered. Maybe God is protecting you from you don't even know why. That's what you do. That's what I mean by when your back is against the wall, you really don't know. There are these types of income that will just come from nowhere. And have you noticed that the last minute, let's say your rent or your mortgage is due, and then you are just short by $1,000. You really don't know what to do else. So what do? Somehow, an idea always comes up that will bail you out of that situation. Has there been a time you get to a point you really don't know what to do anymore? That's what I mean. That quadrant is when you are now fully dependent on God. And God says, okay, before I make other things happen, can you manage this? Do this, do this. And then a rich uncle might just show up from elsewhere and will just ask you certain questions. And because of the answers that you have given, they will say, here goes some money to assist you. That's what I mean.
I remember talking about the dangers of desperation. That's when your back is against the wall. So let me borrow one additional track from Dr. Godfrey. You remember there's this story in the Bible when things were so hard that people decided to start eating their children. That's desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. But if you are one of those people in life that are careful, you see it coming. It is seldom. It is the unusual time that something slaps you in the face that you never saw coming. Most of the time, the things that happen to you, most diligent people have seen it coming. You can't pay your bill. You know that that's coming because something has been going on. You fell sick and all of a sudden you can't walk. Well, that illness, unless it was sudden, you see it coming. High blood pressure, it kills people. But if you are diligent, you will see it coming. Diabetes, before it gets to the stage where it will cause desperation, you see it coming. Go for a health check. Go for this kind of things. Desperate people do desperate things. So what he was talking about, not being desperate, not being with your back to the wall. When your back is to the wall, that's when all things that should not be attractive to you begin to smell attractive. True story. Are you recording this? Yes. I need you to pause this for a second. Guy comes to me in church. I need you to pause this in church. True story. Guy comes to me in church and tells me that they are so broke, but there's another member of the church that has promised to give them $5,000 if he allows this guy to sleep with his wife. Put up one of those slides there. It talks about leadership delegation. I think it's principle number 3. I think it's principle number 3. We didn't get to it because of time. Okay. We didn't talk about leadership. Go to leadership lesson number 3, I believe. Either 3 or 4, one of them. No. Keep going. 5 lessons. So it's keep going to the delegation versus micromanagement. That one. Delegation versus micromanagement. Effective delegation is what you are talking about. So now you had some people with you last year. You have taught them how to delegate. Now you want them to go ahead and be able to delegate and become better leaders themselves. Was that your question? Okay. It's very simple. When you give assignments, you have to be clear about what your expectations are. You have to be clear. Write this down. A disappointment is an unmet expectation. A disappointment is an unmet expectation. In order to not be disappointed, make sure you state the expectation clearly. So you are clear about the assignment. There's clarity of assignment. Now, after you have clearly told them, I need you to go and work out the details of this product launch. I need you to go and figure out how we're going to do this routing assignment. I need you to go and figure out how we're going to do the supervision of the nurses. Then you grant them authority to do it. Many times we give people authority to go and do something, or we give them responsibility to do something, but you don't give them the authority to do it. Then you equip them in such a way that everybody who is around them now has to keep going back to you to come and ask, should we do it? Anybody who works for me knows that I am one of those people in the school of thought. I would rather you beg for forgiveness than permission. If you make a mistake, you won't get fired for making a mistake. If you get to that point where people are not afraid to make mistakes, you will see all sorts of initiatives coming. Simon Peter stepped off the boat. And when he was sinking, he asked for help. But 11 people stayed on the boat. And they are asking for help. Then he asked, I would rather you do something and say it didn't work than wait for me and ask me, Pastor Wale, we should do something new. I say, yeah, what should we do? If we make a mistake, you won't go to hell. At least I know I won't. So you must grant the authority to the person that you have said to do it. Let them do it. And then you only jump in and assist when they ask you. I know as parents it's very difficult because we are helicopter parents. You are hovering over your child. You don't want him to fall down. You don't want him to knock his feet. You don't want this to happen. But it gets to a point where you have to let the child develop their own feet, run on their own. So it's the same way. Employees at work are no different than children. Members in church are no different than children. How many times do you tell your child to do something that he doesn't do it? It doesn't change him from being your child. And it doesn't mean that you won't tell him to do it again the next time. You still tell him again. So after you have granted the authority, then only jump in when they ask you. Don't be jumping all around them as soon as you think that something is going sideways. Make sure they don't make critical mistakes. You guard against critical mistakes. Let me use the example of church. That one is easy. We have many processes in our church. The guy who used to do our media and video, he fired me one day. He said he was leaving. He fired me. He said he was leaving. And so everybody was in a huff and they were saying, what should we do? We're not going to get swag news. I said, wait. I said, that is not a critical process. If we don't get video announcement, the service will still run. But if you don't have a choir leader, that will be a problem. So you make sure that your choir leader is in place. That's a critical process. If you don't have the bulletin, people will still get notice of what's going on. So that's not a critical process. So I'm not going to waste my effort on it. So you have to then begin to identify what are the things that must not drop.
Yes.
Any day that I'm not in church, you know that somebody must preach. Okay? If you're not in the office, someone has to sign payroll checks. If you're not in the office, somebody has to submit the report. So that's critical process. So when you're not there, you make sure that whoever is going to be the person to do it is there. And you are clear about it when you tell them. And then lastly, and this one is the most important, make sure you applaud them when they do things. Oh God. You must applaud them. You must applaud them. When they do something good, celebrate them privately, celebrate them publicly, announce to everybody what a good job they are doing. You know how it is, how you feel. When you're doing something and someone comes along and slaps you on the back, good job, Pastor. That was really good. You know how it feels? You want to do something more than that. But if all you do, and every time that we hear about what you're doing is when you're not doing it well, they'll be like, tell me something new. Tell me something new. You must delegate and allow the people to do it. Don't micromanage them. What do I mean by micromanage? You cannot give a person a job and tell them what to do and then tell them how to do it. That's micromanaging. And I know many ladies are guilty of this. Well, maybe not ladies only. But you tell your guy, go and cut the grass. Go and mow the lawn. That was our pet peeve then. Go and mow the lawn. Pastor is laughing. Did I step on something there? Say, go and mow the lawn. But when I then get outside to mow the lawn, you then tell me, no, don't go left and right. Go straight and down. I'll be like, you know what? If you know how to do it so well, you know what? Do it yourself. Does that help you? Does that help?
Okay, I have a question here. They said, this for Pastor Wale. Why did you decide to leave consulting? And the second question is, what gave you the insight to try dating app?
I didn't know anybody was listening to me when I was saying that.
Singles, they need that.
Okay. No, so why did I leave consulting? It was very simple. It was family. It was family. I joined Deloitte in 2001. Many of you weren't here. I became senior manager in 2005. I became partner in 2009. I know that till today, I don't know anybody else of Nigerian heritage that has made partner in the U.S. Deloitte entity. I don't know anybody. Okay? It was very lonely by the time I got there. And not only was it lonely, people don't call you. I didn't have the network of going to school here. You understand what it is. You don't get called to parties. You don't get called to deals. So you have to go out and hunt your own deals every time, which I was fine with. But if I'm fighting on the outside, I need to know that my house is behind me. That makes all the fighting worth the while. But then my children were growing up, and I was always missing from their lives. So every time there was something to do, I was in some hotel somewhere or the other. I was on the telephone with conferences, working 7 days a week, round the clock. So I just got fed up. And then my daughter, who was then 10, helped to paraphrase it for me carefully, because she said to me when I came home and I was tired, and she said, Dad, you always come home just to come and sleep. You are so boring these days. If all you're coming home to do is sleep. Just stay there and sleep so that we know we don't have a dad again. And so the people for whom I was working or I thought I was killing myself were now the ones that were telling me, what's the point? So that was an aha moment for me that I decided, you know what, another job I will find, another family, too late. This is the one that I have. I'm going to mind it. It was tough for many years, but it's been good. Now, when I look back at the consulting experience, I can tell you then that I was making money. I was making serious money as a partner in Deloitte in 2010. You know. Let me give you an idea of what I walked away from then. My base salary then in 2010 was $350,000 without counting commissions. 2010. It was $350,000 plus commissions, plus bonuses and all of that. So when my wife asked me, are you sure? Who is going to be sure that you are walking away from that? I mean, come on now. Even though I was a pastor, it was my pride then to say that I was funding the ministry. So I did not need to be a pastor. So for many years, I didn't want to be pastor. I was assistant pastor to Pastor Bayo for 14 years. You all knew me there. You knew me there. I would travel, come back on Sunday morning with my bag. But anyway, that's why I left. So it wasn't an easy decision, but it was a family-based decision, which everybody gets to. Now, how do I get into all the other things that I'm doing? I do many things. I just mentioned a few of the things that I do. And some of them, I've always been an entrepreneur. Let me say this. There are pastors that do business, and there are businessmen that pastor. I'm a businessman that just happens to pastor. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about opportunities. I'm thinking about possibilities. I'm thinking about what to drive. I'm thinking about different things. So reading and being able to explain stories and Bible literature and stuff like that, that was easy because when I was younger, I would read novels and remember whole passages. So how to remember Bible passages, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 28, Numbers 6, 24, Romans 8, 31. I can tell you what all those are. That was nothing doing for me. What made the difference that I decided I wanted to invest myself in prayer. So I went to look for people that are prayer ministry. I went to go and sit down with them and just go and sit down to learn. That was for me what becoming a pastor really was. But everything else about ministry and doing work, that's something that I do every day. I have a gift of making difficult things, explaining them in simple language. That's one of the things that I say is my value proposition. So how did we come into dating app? I was leader for young adults in Redeemed for about 7 years. We had the young group from 18 all the way to 34. But what the 34-year-olds need is different than what the 17-year-olds need. Now, COVID has changed all of that. Now, and I make an argument that you do everything that you know today. You do it online. You buy online. You shop online. Anything you do, you buy food online. But you then say that you don't want to date online. I put it to you that the people you will meet online, you will never have an opportunity to meet them if you don't go there. But the thing there is that it's dangerous. So you have to take your chances. It's called caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. So what are the things that we're then trying to do? Because there are many dating apps out there. So how do you make this one different? You really don't know what we do. So what we're doing now is that we're creating gateways. We're creating entry restrictions. So it is free for people who decide that they want to join. But you have to go through a series of lectures that we're going to put online. You have to sit down through the lectures so that we know that you're a Christian. Okay, now does that mean you're a Christian? Well, we can try, but you can't. Only God knows who is a Christian, right? I've asked someone before, are you a Christian? I say, I'm trying. It's not about trying, you know. Say, are you a Christian? Say, I'm trying. That means it's by effort. So it's not about that. And so we're going to launch it at the Young Adults Conference, Yaya, in about 2 weeks is when we're going to launch it. So I'm just telling you about it. So before you are able to see anybody, you create your profile. You go on there, create your profile. Then you have to go and listen to some lectures online that says, this is not about hook up. This is not about bass. If you are here because you are looking for a relationship. Do you agree? Yes. And you will comply with the rules? Yes. Then you check it there. And now we are now building artificial intelligence into the back. So that when you submit your application online, it will look at all the things that you have said and will decide whether we will accept you or not. So there will still be also restraints to people entering. Now, guess what? Anything that has entry restrictions, the value always goes up. Physicians are paid so much money in life today because there's only so many physicians you have. CPAs make so much money today, and they do, because of all the trouble that they have to go through. The man doesn't like me to tell you. He makes money. You see, his company just bought him new Mercedes. I pray my company too will buy me no, Bentley. He already has Mercedes. Me, I want Bentley. But anything that has entry restrictions drives the value up. So when you keep people out, then they want it. So now you have to comply with the rules. And if you don't comply with the rules, we have inside there all the agreements that you have signed. We'll kick you out. Now, are we looking for 1 million people? Probably not. But we don't need 1 million people. We just need to make an impact. You don't have 1 million people here, but you are making an impact on lives. It's the same principle. So how did we get into it? It's because of my experience leading the young adults group. Connect now.
Say it will be out in 2 weeks. It's not out yet. So okay.
So it's very simple to remember.
Okay. Okay, please.
I don't talk about it yet because we had a false start before. But I was just talking about it. I didn't know you guys were listening to me.
Good afternoon. My name is Chidera.
Chidera, the light that lights the room. I've decided you are the thermostat in this room.
So my question is, I will introduce myself. I'm an international student, and I'm in my second year. I just finished my second year at University of Illinois Springfield, and I'm currently interning at EY. So, did you come in as an international student, or if yes, then how were you able to get past the
You mean navigate?
Yeah, how were you able to navigate the restrictions that come with being an international student and getting to where you are today, especially from the H-1B visa lottery?
Pastor Godfrey, you want to?
The question
Who
is
are
for
you
both-
asking?
For both of you, because you did
No, it didn't come in as a
I did what?
No,
consulting, and I'm interning at
Okay.
EY as a technology consultant this summer.
So many of the consulting companies will file for you. So as you're going on along the process, look for those that will file for you. That's one. It's a multi-layer process. People say when you don't have your papers, you should go and marry. No. Wait now. They say you should go and marry. People are going to jail now because of that. Because they're checking it and they're screening and scrubbing through it so much. Social media, they're now using it to catch people. Because you say you're married to this person, but your social media is showing you on a page with this person and there's not. And they check all of that down. So marriage is not the only way in which you can get resolved. But it's a multi-step process, okay? And if you are really diligent about what you want, you will get it, okay? I'm not trying to give you immigration advice here because each person's situation is unique. But there are companies that will file for you in the consulting realm based off of the papers that you have. Now, H1 is also very interesting. If you are in one of the yes, they'll give you a 3 years to work after you have gone inside there. Your 3 years to work gives you plenty of runway time to look for options of what you can do. Another option is just stay in there and be on some college or some school that you're going to be doing a master's degree. You just kick the ball down the line, kick the ball forward, just keep kicking it forward. At some point in time, something will happen that will swing in your favor. You are not married now. Who is to tell that you will find love or love will find you? Then it becomes something that is not framed or conjured. It becomes something that is legal. While you're doing that, I don't want to tell you that you can, but if you go through this line of work we're talking about, you can file each one for yourself. I know people who have done it. There's a young lady who is with us, not even one. A few young ladies who are with us now, that they've studied pharmacy. All sorts of suggestions. Now they're working for University of Chicago. They're doing clinical research there. U of Chicago has filed for them. My nephew is an architect. He works for a consulting firm downtown Chicago. They have filed for him. So there are many other ways. There are many avenues. What you want to do is go and look for an attorney that knows how to do this, will explain what you're looking for and what you're going through, because each person's circumstance is different. Each person's circumstance is different. It could be a minor twist only in yours that says that you came in on a particular day before a particular time, and that grants you exemption that somebody else doesn't get. It may be because of the subject that you are studying. It may be because of the career you have chosen. All sorts of things. So all you need is a good immigration attorney. We had two that we use from members of our church. One of them is here in Chicago. She was an immigration judge. She's married to a Nigerian. The first time I met her, I was annoyed with her because I thought she was patronizing me. Because the first thing she asked me was, she greeted me, she said, Bawoni. I was like, what is wrong with this white woman greeting me Bawoni? Then the next thing she started telling me about was how she went to Lagos with her Nigerian husband who is in consulting, and how her favorite food is not jollof rice, but her favorite food is amala and begiri. So now that caught my attention, and I was like, okay, maybe she knows what she's talking about. So that's one person we use, but she's very difficult to get into. The other person we use is in Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. Extremely smart Nigerian. I've never met a Nigerian that has a chamber here in the U.S. that hires 14 attorneys. He's there. So we work with him. So when you go on his website and you try and book an appointment, you will never find an appointment. But pay the fees and pay the consultation fee, appointment will open. So I'm not trying to give you immigration advice here because it's different, but you can go through with it.
I was just going to add to what Pastor just said. All those premises he gave you, those are the premises to follow. You see, I came here in January 1982. The laws were quite different. We didn't have to go through all these that folks are going through. So when I hear people going through, I say, what did you say? I mean, then you can get a citizenship like no man's business. I got mine in 84, 85. So I was done. So by the time we crossed to the 90s, things were changing. So when they tell me they are going through all this, I'm like, this never happened. So I don't know who spoiled what. Okay? So when you say, okay, I'll get married to get a green card or do this and all that, it is just like completely different from what we used to see back then. You know, so I just want to let you know that the point he made is that something can change, an administration can change it. Try not to be political about all of this, but if you recall the years before Biden, we couldn't as
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay, before you ask, okay, let me allow you to ask that.
So my question goes to Dr. Godfrey. Okay, so when you were talking, you said something about engaging multiple forms of investments. Okay, so if I have interest in going into investments, what is the first step? How do I go about it? How do I know what to invest in? And, stuff like that.
So in seminars like this, that's where you learn some of these things. So what are you particularly interested in? So you list out a bunch of things that you have interest in, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in home health care. You just heard the pastor talk about a dating website. He might need somebody that wants to invest in that. So you invest in that. Whether it's someone starting up their own business in buying buildings and reselling the buildings and something like that, that's an investment. So list out all the investments that you know of or things that you are potentially interested in, and then you now make how much money you can put into those types of investment. The investments that I don't do them because I really don't. Okay, there's this thing called Turo business. Are you familiar with Turo business? It's a car rental business. Are you guys familiar with Turo? Okay, so I have heard about it. I don't know anything about it, but I invested money in it. I said, just keep telling me what's going on, and I'm hearing great things about what's happening. But still, I'm not interested in going and knowing by myself because I have given somebody the money to make all that thing happen for me. So that's what that is. Invest in multiple places. The one I don't like is the rental real estate thing. I know a lot of people really like that. When I go to big conferences like what we have right here, I actually come against it. You know why? Because the day something goes wrong in the system, your rental folks, your tenants will not pay you a dime. And then that's number one. Number two, they will actually sue you for trying to kick them out. So when you hear these types of things, it gets disheartening. So you have to engage in multiple investments, look at the investments on ground, and go into them. Invest in stocks, invest in cryptos. They are risky. Invest in them. You make money.
I think that also brings me to the question I want to ask, and I will follow up with the question that they asked here. They say giving risk a chance. Mm-hmm. They say, how do you understand your risk appetite? How much risk can you accept to make money for real? And I'm going to tie it to some risk, I believe, because talking about real estate, I know, like you said, in 2005 or something, you got bonds, real, and even in stock. I also know there was a time that you got really. So how would you advise somebody going into all those things? What do they have to look at? What are the, like you said, how much risk can they take? So if you can tie everything together, I will
Thank you.
truly
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that.
And when I started, before Pastor Wale got in, I gave you guys a story of Pastor Wale and I. You guys remember that story? And he didn't even know I had that story. And for his own benefit, I said we were both flying from, I think it was San Francisco. He was working with Deloitte then, and we were flying back to Chicago. And I saw him, and I said, because he's on this flight, I know nothing will happen to us, because I've always known him. And when he was at Jesus' house, we're friends there, and I'll come and see Pastor Bayo and so on and so forth, and what have you. So he was traveling these miles weekly, ask him, okay? And he gave you all the testimony, how he ended up leaving and decided to do other things after daughter came up asking and saying, I need you here more than there, okay? It was a risk on his part to do what he was doing. So at some point, when you are doing risks, you have to learn to be calculative about the risks that you're doing. You don't foolishly just throw it all in, because you might foolishly just lose it all. Okay? So there's some room for calculation. Okay? for instance, I gave you a point. I said the doctor in Indiana called me with $300,000. I actually put all in euro dollar going up. Amen. And so when the man, guess what? He said, was it last week Friday? He called me and said, have you seen euro dollar? I said, I have seen it. I said, how much do you have? He said, I now have $450,000 from 300. If he had not done that, would he have the extra 150? So that's what I'm talking about. And that took place only within less than how many months? Within less than 3-4 months. Weeks. 5 weeks. I saw the trajectory of euro dollar. I said, this thing is going up. This thing is going up. Everybody get in. I wrote it out on WhatsApp, and some people did and some did not. And now they're asking me, now this thing don't came up this high. They want to know whether to go in there. I said, I can't say anything right now. When it was down, I knew this thing will go up. Whatever. You know, you guys were so little. There was a guy back in Nigeria called Bongos Ikwe. In Bongos Ikwe sings a song, was gonna be. What goes up must come down. That's the same thing. This is life. What goes up must come down. What goes down? So if you are down now, you must go up. So when euro dollar was down, I said, it's going to go up. Look at, everybody thought American US dollar will remain up. And I said, no, this thing is going to crash. Guess what? Since they've had this debate thing since 2 weeks ago, have you seen the US dollar lately? Dropping like a rock.
They're afraid of Trump.
Oh, they're afraid. They don't know what will happen. And they're afraid that Democrats will act foolishly and bring somebody that will create chaos. The old man is good. It's not causing you problem. That's why you see the dollar falling. And then guess what? Euro going up. I said, this is what I told you guys about 4 weeks ago.
The dollar is going to come back. So
yeah, it will come back.
So anybody who has money to invest now, go and invest it.
Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. I have one final question for Pastor Wale. One. Yes. One for you. No. Now, as a pastor and serial entrepreneur, how do you manage the process?
I just like that serial entrepreneur. When you say serial entrepreneur, I like that. You know,
Yes,
I'll be using that too now. Serial entrepreneur.
No, I guess. So, Pastor Wale, thank you. So, how do you manage the process?
I don't. It's God has just blessed me with people, and you have to cultivate the people around you. I just talked about delegation. The clinical research business that we run in the city. There was a time I was going there 4 days a week. Now I go there twice a month. We worked until we got the right person inside there. Then after the right person got inside there, we supported, we championed, we encouraged, did all the things. Now they don't need me. The charity, the pantry that we run, for many years, I was the one that was hands-on in doing everything inside there. I can't remember the last time I went inside there. So it's only when they have decisions to make that I go inside there. Same thing with the home care business that we run. We have a CIO now. We have an HR manager. We have recruiting and personnel managers and all of that. So it's administration. So you just have to. God blessed me with a great wife. She does so many things that helps a lot of the way. Same thing with church. Now, this morning, I was just telling pastor that there's different things going on in church. I don't know who's doing what again. But I just know that part of it is about delegation. Delegating, allowing people to make mistakes, owning whatever it is that you will do, and let them go ahead and do it. And then me, myself, I've learned to just trust God. I used to think before that I would never get high blood pressure because I can sleep through a storm. I used to think that I would never have anything with restlessness. But I found out now that some things come with age. And I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't sleep. And I was like, why? So you know what the Bible says about it is the riches of the rich man that keep them from sleeping. So, so I decided that I don't own any of that anymore. So I don't collect a salary from the church. I'm not on the payroll of the church. And as long as I can, I made a pledge with God that whatever money we make from there is to support the work that I'm doing. So I don't collect any money from church. So that one, and God has been helping us. How do you then get into all the different things? You just have to, godliness with contentment. The fact that you are content does not mean that you are not ambitious. But I don't let my ambition keep me from being satisfied. Anytime you look around, there's always someone who is bigger and better than you. There's always a Mercedes that is bigger than your own around the corner. See, when I heard now that Dr. Ikomo has, that he has Mercedes, now I want Bentley. But I was just joking. See, because I don't... He can, but not because he has a Maybach. I don't know what kind of Mercedes he has, but I assume it will soon be a Maybach if it's not a Maybach. There you go. The one with the engine, you put it on, you think the car is angry. So, but it's godliness with contentment. But the fact that you're content does not mean that you're not aspiring. One of the worst songs that I've heard people sing is that Chi Sera Sera, what will be, will be. Very fatalistic. Don't join anybody in singing it. Because life will always put you down. So you said something about falling down and how do you pick yourself up. When I was practicing in motivational speaking many years ago, I would tell people, I said, life will always knock you down. But when life knocks you down, make sure you land on your back. Because if you can look up, then that means you can get up. So if life knocks you down, land on your back. Make sure you are looking up at other people and other things that are going so you can pick yourself up.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Godfrey, any final word for us?
First, let me say I thank Pastor Wilson for putting this together. And this is my first time at your conference. And I hope to visit again if you have future. And then, and also to be at the same stage with this great man of God is a thing of honor. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity. We've known each other forever, and we've never been on the same platform, you know. So we are glad to be here, and also to finally meet your wife. I know I've seen her from afar. You know, please let us give her a hand clap, you know. Yeah. And some of my people.
She's not the first lady. She's the only lady.
First and only.
The only lady.
Yes. Please let us give her a hand of appreciation. Then two of my folks came with me. Brother Steve is right there. And Sister Taiwo is right there. Okay, they came with me on this. I just want to thank God for them. Thank God for every single person here. I see the work that we are doing in this church. You know, I think there's some more that will be done in this church. I'm going to leave a small offering here for $5,000 to help do some things, and also help the church a little bit. We are grateful to God for what will happen, and just keep praying for us. And please go out there and make it. Go out there and make it. There's so much in this country that you can really, really make it here. Okay, if you are looking for a visa, do the right things, meet with the right attorneys, and then you get your visa. And then if you're starting a business, just like Pastor was sharing earlier, you know, form your LLC or S Corp or INC and so on and so forth. and get yourself going. Okay, there's wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge. Go on my website, and all of this stuff is detailed out there. You know, it's goeglobalenterprise.com. You know, you see my picture there, whatever. If you Google my name, somehow they'll link you up there. So there are all these things about us there that would really help you know some of the things that we know. Okay? Thank you so very much, and God bless and keep you in Jesus' name.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for taking your time out to come and be a blessing. We know you could have been doing several things, but you choose to be here. And thank you for the gift of 5,000. So we are getting closer. So our 1.5 million, we are getting there now. Hey, Pastor Wale, do you have any? Okay, want to say thank you. Pastor Wale actually was supposed, like he said, he's still traveling. He still travels a lot, but I guess he manages it well now. He was supposed to be going out of the country today, but he had to cancel his flight, moved his flight because of this conference. Thank you so much. Thank you for the sacrifice. Thank you for honoring us, and thank you for being a blessing. God bless you so much. And I want to thank everyone for coming. And I also want to thank the committee that put this program together, and being led by Brother Shegun. Please, they did. And like Pastor, I'm still trying, but I really didn't have to do much this time. I didn't have to disturb myself. I think most of the time I was even in Nigeria where they were putting things together. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing us in church tomorrow, 11 a.m. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
But I think that we can record it right here in Canada. Do you think we can record it? Can we do it right here, right now? Can we do it right here? All right, well, I need you to fill this place. Don't worry. I'm going to preach in a moment.